ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Saturday Smackdown, once again featuring Samwise12 versus Aizamk. A pretty interesting best of 7, honestly. Certainly one of the closest we've seen in a while, with some really nice Aizamk strategies, so to speak. Certainly Samwise, very good player, but not fully integrated into the 2015 metagame just yet. Definitely he's planned a lot, and I'm sure he'll be fully there quite soon, but things definitely a bit different now from when he played back in the day, with all the various innovations we've seen lately in recent times. Certainly the strength of the 200 wood trading post and the full potential of resource crates comes to mind, and Goodspeed talks about that in many of his guides as well. But yeah, also Aizamk strategies is not something Samwise is going to be familiar with either, bear that in mind, so fresh meat, so to speak. Game 5 was definitely one to watch if perhaps you're not going to be watching the entire VOD. It was really fun. In fact, the entire stream was really fun. It was certainly one of the closest we've seen in a while, as I said. But yes, just like to mention that I didn't have my user interface for casting installed for this first match. So obviously I took the stream, I used Zuta's perspective. It is 720p, but that's upscaled to 1080. But aside from that first video from the stream, the rest of the video is 1080p max graphics, so that's all good. Just the first one's slightly lower quality. But yep, there is that. And again, I don't have my UI installed for this first one, so the quality of my commentary is perhaps better in the rest of the matches. But that's everything. Enjoy the video.
For another one with Samwise12 in it. It's going to be good. The last one went down quite well. People were quite happy about that. Absolutely. But Samwise versus Aizamk. But first of all, the date is
Saturday, May 16th.
May 16th. I don't know why I like every time you say the date, or any American, I suppose, like you miss out the, like we would say the 16th of May. It would be unnatural for me to say May 16th. Like that wouldn't be my first response. I don't know. That's interesting.
Either way, it is the 16th of May, which in itself is crazy because it's like halfway to June already.
You said this last week. I was watching the VOD back, and I didn't realize what you'd said until I watched the VOD. I was like, oh god, that's right.
It's because I live in a new climate than I was used to previously, which results in, like, I don't know, my climate awareness being very low this time of year.
Well, climate awareness.
It's a real thing.
And the differences between English and American English. How interesting. Not like this British mirror, though. That's not particular. Whoa, okay.
Yeah,
Aizamk building his trading post as usual.
We've already got like something like two completely conflicting builds, and we're like rambling about the weather in traditional Smackdown style.
Traditional Interjection and Zuta Smackdown, yep.
Yeah, but we should mention like what's going on here, because Sam has opted for the much more like traditional Brit opening, which would just be to like drop the 2 manners with your 300 wood, versus Aiz, who has dropped down the trading post and has opted to gather the extra resources to build that manor. So there is a disparity already starting to form. We can see Samwise has got more population and slightly more food as a result of this, but as a result, Aiz is going to have the trading post, which is going to provide him with a very quick first shipment, which is something that we'll have to pay very close attention to in the early portion of this game.
We do have an army of dupers, though. Come at me.
Where's the... Oh, yeah, there he is.
Yep, Blue's found them.
Yeah. He's splitting them up, interestingly enough.
Yeah, cover more ground, find those big treasures before his opponent does. It's not too bad, I guess.
Yeah, I always kind of operate under the theory, though, that they're best with your Explorer. Because, like, what happens if you, like, run over, like, here with your Explorer or something, and you've got your monkeys all split up, and there's a huge treasure that you want to take, right? And you want all 5 of those monkeys there to help you. Versus here, now he's got them all split up. I mean, he's going to have maybe, like, 1 or 2 that are going to be in immediate range to help him and run over, but... if you were to, want them all simultaneously, he's not going to have them available to him. So
That is true, but equally he does cover more ground, and he does come across this 75 food treasure. He does come across a fairly hefty 80 coin treasure, which I don't think he would have found at this point. Though I guess obviously your comment still a lot of merit.
He's never
not
going to
exactly
take
going to
those.
get
He's
them.
not going to take those. I mean,
Not
he may be aware of them, but I don't know that it necessarily matters whether or not he's aware of them, just due to the fact that he's never going to be able to collect them himself. But he doesn't. He adds another one to the Duber army. The Duber army swells in ranks.
It does. But what I'm interested in here is the differences between the builds here. Obviously, now both players, Sam's certainly aging up. I don't have my UI installed again. Oh, for goodness sake. It's because I take it out when I want to play my free-for-all map, which is coming along quite nicely, if anyone was wondering. I'll probably get a video about that out on the channel at some point. But, here's Aizamk going with the trading post, which is going to result in a timing, sort of a British sort of. Obviously, he's going to boom. I don't know what shipments he's sent or what he's intending to do, but certainly
still just sent 3 bills so far, so nothing too crazy.
But I'm not necessarily sure if Sam is going to be used to experiencing. I feel like Aizamk's sort of surprise YOLO, whatever I call it, Aizamk YOLO swag is going to be pretty effective on Sam, because he's not, Sam gone for a long time, not familiar with the current metagame, and certainly not familiar with Aizamk.
Yeah, we'll have to see whether or not he does he did just send Virginia Company, so I mean he is going to go full out YOLO swag Mad style like you mentioned, but we'll have to see whether or not just Sam's traditional style and the earlier pressure that he will have out on the map, just because he's not investing so many of his early cards into Virginia Company and stuff like that, whether or not he can make that into some sort of advantage that he can really make use of, because we can see because of the current the current builds, Sam is up a little bit in mana pop. He's got a little bit extra mana population already built, and
up sooner.
He's going to be up slightly sooner, and seconds can matter, especially in a mirror. So we'll have to see whether or not that holds true in this particular case. But one thing I really do love is the vision that Aiz already has established. Look at the manners he's got out here very far. Certainly, these manners in the market placement have cost him a little bit of villager walking time. But at the same time, the vision that he has, and with the dupers, even
especially
just
with the monkeys,
there is just so much vision everywhere on the map that Blue is going to be perfectly aware of what his opponent is doing, essentially no matter what he does. So, really nice positioning there by Aiz, and it might be something that's difficult for Sam to, maneuver his way around against another high-level player who is fully aware of what you're doing. It's going to make it very, very difficult to outmaneuver him on the open field. So we'll have to see if that plays into this at all, and whether or not Sam is able to be aggressive. We do see that both players did age with the Philosopher Prince, which is the 500 food age up, and Samwise follows it up immediately with 700 wood. So likely going to be going longbow pike and adding in some pressure in that way very, very early on.
We'll have to see what Aiz is up to. Just the one barracks at the moment, so I'm expecting musketeers, followed by a stable at some point. The musk-husk combo, though. I really don't know. I can't tell what's going on. I don't have my UI installed, so I resign so I can see the post-game.
It doesn't have any coin. He doesn't have any coin, actually, so it's fairly unlikely that he's actually going to be making muskets.
Oh, okay.
And he's just committing to a super hard mana boom. At this point, he's overtaken Samwise by, by 2 or 3 manners, and I think he'll be okay to hold here. It's just going to come down to whether or not Sam gets out a crazy number of units while he's not booming as hard. And if he follows this up with an 8 or 9 minute timing push out of the 2 racks pressure, there's a potential that Aiz just topples over and dies because he doesn't have nearly enough units.
I was looking at the villager graph, which I have access to now, and they're actually very even in villages. Sam actually slightly ahead, and ahead on all resources gathered, and by the looks of it, ahead on military as well. So actually, his build seems to be better, but obviously still Aiz hasn't finished actually creating all of these manners, and certainly still has some shipments available to him that Sam won't.
Yeah.
It's an interesting timing. I want to see what happens here. Can he pick off some units, though? Here we go. Sam doesn't want to lose too many of these. This isn't going to be too good. He identifies what's going on, though.
Longbow Wars.
Longbow Wars, indeed.
Longbow Wars.
That market's going to go down, though.
Yep.
A couple more longbowmen coming out. And definitely within quite a lot of range here. The Explorer tanking a lot of damage here. But I think A's getting quite a favourable few shots off.
Yeah, and as the longer this goes, we have to remember Aiz has the trading post. Sam has shipped 6 longbows as his 4th card, so he's really looking to push the issue here, reinforce his army, and just play super aggressive with this longbow mass. So the longer this goes, and the longer the Aiz can hold out and not die, and the more resources the players start to gather, the more and more difficult this will be for Samwise to win. We can also see that Aiz has shipped 700 coin and has gathered quite a bit of coin. So that stable he's got up in the backside of his base is going to pose a fairly significant risk to Sam should he stick around here with 2 little anti-cav, which at the current time, I mean, he's only got 5 pike on the field. I think he's...
Yeah, not so many.
Yeah, he's kind of expecting just to engage in like a flat-out longbow war, and Aiz is about to really mix things up, either with an age up with the 700 coin, or a couple big batches of Huss out of that back stable.
Certainly. Well, with I was going to mention, a couple of extra longbow came out during the fight earlier, and then especially with the 6 longbow shipment, Aiz looking quite overwhelmed here, especially since he's slowed down to send 700 coin and get the stable up. But 5 cav do pop out. Only 5 pikemen here, and they're getting sniped off by the longbowmen. This does not look too good. There are an absolute ton of longbowmen out of position here. Gonna get trapped by these by the cavalry, and certainly also calling his Minutemen. This is where Aizamk wants to win the game by the looks of it.
I don't know if it's enough to win the game, but it's certainly going to set Sam back a lot. That being said, longbowmen, when they are able to just stand there and do damage, do an insane amount of DPS. So looks like he's running back. Currently probably has pikes in queue to be able to deal with the cav. But either way, I think Aiz has accomplished what he wants to accomplish. He has the resources to age. He has the pressure momentarily thwarted and pushed back with this cav pop out. And is looking to find himself actually in a really nice position now. It kind of has Sam on the ropes, I would say, even. I mean, he is up. He's pushing the issue. And this is the point in the game where Sam really wants to be, driving his opponent back in his base and not, backpedaling towards his own base, as it were. And that's unfortunately the case for Sam right now. And I think it's going to be a fairly rude awakening for him when his opponent ages up. And that's going to really spell panic mode. I don't know that there's really much he can do when that actually occurs, aside from maybe trying to pull together one last big timing push here and pushing out across the map. But even that is going to be very difficult to do.
Yeah, is that what he has in mind, aging up here? Certainly adding in a second barracks, though. Is he aging up?
Yeah, he's 50% of the way aged up.
Oh, is he? I have no idea what's going on.
He's nearly up, and this is the point. I mean, Sam does have a slight military advantage now, and because he is making units in the transition here while Aiz is aging up, he is going to continue to be ahead in units. But once Aiz gets aged up, gets things like Vet Huss, Vet Longbow, certainly something like 2 Falconets is going to be absolutely brutal against the composition that Sam currently has, and pushing out into Vet Huss and 2 Falconets is going to be very, very difficult to do.
I like it. Sneaking in the age up, pushing him back. Obviously, didn't have the army to keep pushing forward into Sam. I think certainly, well, obviously aging up was definitely a very, very good thing to do indeed. Get that tech and have access to those shipments. And certainly the upgrades. 6 longbowmen have just arrived. Yeah. And I'm sure he's just spent a shipment as well if he had one queued up. Yeah, Samwise gonna have to age up himself now. Is he 700 coin on the floor? Is that what he has in mind?
I don't know. He's sitting at an awkward amount of resources. Like has 400, 500 food, 700 coin. I think certainly he probably has to try and age up, but he might just be at a timing where he might just die if he tries to age up. Certainly the 2 Falconet shipment is going to come at some point here in the very near future for Aiz, and that's going to spell go time. That's when he's going to push out across the map. And we have to recall that Brits don't have any sort of fast aging politician, and as a result of that, playing reactively to someone's age up with Brits can be a little difficult, just because you're not going to have that, quick 40-second age up that's going to be able to, immediately propel you into the third age. You have to take the long approach to get there.
Yeah.
And although Sam's economy is still good, he's at 57 vills to his opponent's 54. At the end of the day, it's still going to be very tricky to play catch-up at this point.
Did he tomato ketchup? Did he send 5 cav, or is that shipment still not here?
He actually sent yeoman as his next.
Oh, did he?
So.
Oh, okay. Well, going for the extra range. Maybe he just felt like I shouldn't be sending cannons. My entire army is just longbowmen at the time. He's made a few cavalry since, but longbowmen and cannons are fairly weak to a massive cav. But Sam, I presume he's aging. I don't know.
He is aging, but he's only halfway up, and these
oh god, look at this! There's so many cav on top of his longbowmen. There was 2 options. It was age up and hope, or it was continue to mass in colonial and probably just lose. And it looks like he went for the hope option. Oh, that's kind of funny. His clan tag is hope.
But unfortunately for
Having
him...
said that, he's taken out a lot of cav.
But just look at the reinforcing batches of cav coming in. Not enough pikes to be able to deal with this. I mean, longbowmen, when allowed to just stand in the back and deal damage, are absolutely brutal, but...
Yeah, but a lot of them are sieging this barracks. Look at how much damage it's taken. Like, he's doing pretty good in this fight. All the cav are down. His longbow mass is intact. I presume he's going to be up any moment now with 6 extra longbowmen. He's held it, and Aiz looking like a fool. Look at that barracks. How much damage did that just take from longbowmen?
That was sloppy play. That was just straight out sloppy play. And with even the 2 Hussar here are definitely going to help quite a bit. Unfortunately, Sam is still playing behind from the tech point of view. He still has to get the upgrades for his Hussar. He still has to get the veterancy upgrades as well. And this whole time he's had units, villagers in his town center not being able to gather, while Aiz is continuing just to spread out across the map, gathering resources, continuing to push the advantage economically. And so, despite the fact that he did spend quite a bit of time sieging that barracks and did waste quite a bit of his efficiency there.
Absolutely a mammoth amount of damage. This fight would be so different. You consider they have, 12 siege attack compared to 20 ranged attack, and the amount of damage that Rax has taken, if that was on units, I don't think any green longbowman would be here.
No, certainly not.
Oh, look at this, 5 cav coming out as well. Just longbowman here for Aiz. He does have 5 cav of his own, fortunately, which are going to be able to, push down these green cav before they can kill too many longbowmen a bit better. But I don't know, Sam. It's definitely still a lot of hope.
It's going to be difficult, though, with the 2 falconets coming in. Fortunately, they are a bit exposed, so maybe he can pop out his next batch. His next batch of cav. He's going to be able to get those. Them. I don't know. He's okay. Maybe he's okay. He's killed the 2 falconets. He still has 2 falconets of his own. He is down in villagers, 58 versus 50. But he's managed to hold in his base, and maybe he's okay. 10 longbowmen coming might be able to push out, and we do have to consider that, Aiz is fairly extended now. He does have a town center up here holding down a lot of resources in the southwest corner of the map. But military speaking, Sam has a 37-1 advantage right now. So there's a lot of army out on the field for Samwise12, and there's very little to defend these fairly spread out resources that Aiz is now going to have to defend.
What a swing. I was not expecting that. That Rax literally sponging. That was the tanking Rax. The MVP.
The tanking Rax. And now 2 falconets coming out going to help push down. Certainly Sam needs to have these resources available to him. We can see that he's only really got access to 2 remaining hunts, and one of those currently has an outpost on it, and so he really needs to be able to free up those resources if he wants to have any hope of continuing to push, continuing to sustain this army. But currently right now he's got a really scary looking army, and if he can continue to leverage this into more map control and more of an advantage, then he should be okay. But he has to be active with his army. The one thing he can't afford to do is just sit in his base and be like, okay, I just want to fight now, maybe I can recover. He has to continue to be proactive with his army, because if he's not active with his army, he's still going to lose, because he's down 11 villagers. He's down the unit upgrade. He doesn't have yeomen sent. He's been sending just military units. So All those things are very, very important to consider. And it looks like he's going to take heed to that and begin pushing out here to the west side of the map.
I'd certainly call picking up a 305 coin treasure productive, and obviously taking out that tower on top of it. Oh, here comes a raid, though. But what do you think? Obviously, now he's going to push out here, but Aiz has had a little bit of time to make some more units. What if he just sent his army straight at Aizamk after winning that fight? He knew his opponent had no military, but he's given him a bit of time to get back on his feet. Obviously, he did kind of have to go reclaim that hunt because there was a tower on top of it. But oh wow, lost quite a few villages here.
Yeah, but he saw. So he had a moment of indecision here. He wasn't sure whether or not he was going to go and defend home or come over here. He knows there's at least 20 villagers in this town center. I saw a bunch of them go in. There's an absolutely huge amount of villagers in here. And it looks like Aiz is just going to play the split game. He's just going to go looking for Sam's eco at the same time and just kind of sack his own eco. Quite a few villagers here are going to get caught out by Sam, but at the same time, he knows when this town center goes down that he can kill every single villager inside of here, and that's going to be absolutely huge for him. That's going to be a lot.
There it is.
There they are. Oh my god.
There are so many there. Oh god, Aizamk, what can you do?
I don't know. He's getting a pretty good revenge kill, retribution kill here. I don't think he's got enough.
Yeah, but you can't see. He doesn't have the Falcons. He doesn't have nearly as many units. I don't think he's going to be able to bring it down.
It's going to be tough, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know. He might sneak out with a few vills here.
Maybe,
but
I don't think he's even going to try it. He thinks there's no way. Like maybe he brings it down, but I think Samwise definitely going to be back in time for dinner to protect his villages.
Yeah,
and I think.
And that really evens up the score in terms of villager count. I mean, we can see Aiz, has 52 vills, likely going to lose 2 or 3 more here to this continued raiding pressure. And now with the villager counts being 51 to 45, and Sam having the clear military advantage, ball's in Sam's court here. Like he definitely has the tempo here. He's definitely going to be able to push out across the map. And with the stronger army, and especially with the 2 falconets still in store, this is all of a sudden looking very, very, very tricky for Aiz to pull back to an even fight, especially with the dwindling resources now on the map.
Significantly bigger army here, and the army he does have is under pressure. It doesn't look like he's going to get those longbowmen away. Even villager counts. Certainly now on berries, actually. He's going to have to move his villages to get over there. Dwindling resources.
And the cavalry is so strong. Vet Huss, such a strong unit.
Yeah, and 2 cannons in favor of Samwise. There's a bigger army, 2 falconets, and even villager counts. And way more units.
It's going to be tough.
It's been a game. It's, that barracks, MVP.
That barracks we can still see standing on half HP. Like you mentioned, it soaked so much damage, and as a result, definitely a big advantage. Ooh, the Hussar!
Wow, no, all of his Green's Hussars have gone very far away now. It's literally just these cavalry versus. Can he take out those 2 cannons? If he can, this evens up the fight by quite a lot. Just because Samwise's cavalry were just out of position, not protecting his thing. He sent all of them off to raid, and I know some people get a bit narky about that when you send all of your cav off to raid. But look at that.
At the same time, like longbowmen in mass. NP, doesn't matter, just holding strong, just the DPS factor, especially now that Sam has Yeoman sent as well. Like, all of those longbowmen are always going to be shooting, and just the sheer DPS that comes when longbowmen in mass are allowed to just stand together is so strong. And Sam definitely clearing out his side of the map now. Has sent 8 villagers, and so now finds himself in a 56 to 47 villager advantage. Going to be even more now that he's killed these couple more villagers. And Aiz all of a sudden went from what looked like a really good position in the mid game to, as we progress towards the later portions of this H3 battle, looking to be really on the back foot. Definitely going to be difficult for him to clean up. Oh, he's going to save the stable though, to the 1 hero longbowman that was trying to take down the stable.
Wow, 312 damage to go.
Yeah. Although to be fair, for that longbowman, that would take a very long time. With only 12 siege attack, it would take.
He must have felt like an absolute beast there. You know? Yeah, that one guy. Yeah, but despite leaving his longbow mat position, clearly, as we saw, the DPS on them enough to save them. They're all still alive. Look at this army. I'm going to take a look at the view post-game military units. Wow, he has set 67 compared to 36.
Yeah.
And I think he's ahead on villagers. I don't know for sure.
Yeah, it's 58 versus 46 villagers right now, which is only going to improve for Sam because I mean he's just pushing the tempo here, but it looks like he's just going to take this huge fight. He's got so many vet husks, and I don't know. There's just not enough dragoons. There's just nothing really Aiz can do but stand and fight and pray that longbowmen can be longbowmen. But Sam's just got the better mass here, the better army, and I think we'll see a GG after this fight.
Just has more units. Look at that.
He's just got more stuff, and sometimes just having more stuff, despite the fact that you have better positioning or better micro,
just doesn't matter.
Just doesn't matter because sometimes when you just got more stuff, you just win the game, and that's definitely going to be the situation here. Aiz continuing to lose villagers. I hear their screams going on in the background. And,
oh my goodness, Zuta. Okay.
You get? They're like ah.
Yeah, they don't sound too happy.
They die very violently.
They do.
Which you would too if you were like getting hacked by a guy on a horse, but that's gonna be it. Game number 1 going to Samwise12 with a fairly, well, I was gonna say a fairly impressive hold in his base, but at the end of the day, I think more just sloppy
I feel like Aiz
play.
won the game.
Yeah,
Like,
sloppy
at that
play.
point.
I really liked Aiz's early game. I think he played the early game very, very smartly and very intelligently, and then just got a bit carried away with the advantage he had and thought, wow, this is an easy win to convert, and forgot that he's playing a very high tier player, and as a result, Sam was able to unit position his way back into the fight, abuse the fact that his opponent wasted all that damage sieging the barracks, and at the end of the day was able to pull it back to even with some big raids, and then able to push the advantage to a victory. So
I'm putting
well
my
played.
UI menu back in.
Well done by him.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Saturday Smackdown. Here I have my UI installed for this second game, so we'll have... I'm not quite sure if Zuta streams in 1080p, but either way, mine is definitely 1080p for this second thing in the VOD. But for all of you on the stream, I guess it really doesn't make any difference at all. What building are we going to start with?
Market.
I'm going with the market too. I think I'm agreeing with you here. What do we got?
Livestock pen.
Livestock pen. Well, it's not the least. It's certainly not the least useful.
No.
It's actually pretty good on SAG.
I don't know if any of them are like the least useful. I guess plantation is probably least useful, but
does it inflate your score by 8 as well? I guess it would.
Sure. Yeah, I would assume so.
Yeah. Well, I guess it might be useful at some point. But we do have Germany sporting as the color Samwise, playing the civilization green. Absolutely. There we go. No early market. Well, actually, trading post. That would make sense.
Trading post. Yeah.
200 wood start. Nice to do that. And sort of, well, equally typical standard Aiz-Brits.
When in doubt, TP out.
Seems legit. But Germany versus British. On the map, Saguenay, as we can see here.
This is such a fun matchup.
I like this matchup.
Yeah, it's so dynamic. It's very similar to the French matchup, right? Except there's like more clearly defined roles in French versus Brit, like which we talked about last week. There's like it's like on French to like decide what he wants to do, and Brit like to react to what he's doing. And it's very similar in this matchup. I mean, Brits are fairly reactive civ in general. Most eco civs are fairly reactive in that manner. But in this particular matchup, there's more definition as to what Germany's playing. Germany's probably not going to be sticking around in the Second Age, although, I mean, it's not out of the realm of possibility to see a German player do some sort of crossbow pike against a Brit player, but it's more likely you'll see age 4 or age 3 play out of the German player. Yeah. And so that kind of gives Brit a little bit of a head start as to like playing the reactive game, because they, especially, like you see Cav and you're like, okay, like if I see Cav like 5 Ulans or whatever, it's fairly safe to assume he's going to be aging up. Versus French, on the other hand, like you see 5 Cav, it's not necessarily set in stone that he's aging. So I do like this matchup. Maybe a little bit easier from Brit's perspective, but at the same time, it's easier to scout. I don't know that it's easier to win. I think it's easier to scout.
Yeah.
But I mean, we've mentioned before how strong the German age 3, like around that 10-ish, 10.5 minute mark is, and just that power spike, even when you know it's coming, in fully preparing for it, can still be very, very difficult to deal with. So we'll see whether or not that occurs.
This is if he's going to be going with that Fortress Age agenda, or indeed anything, which it's Germany. Let's just be honest. We're probably expecting the Fortress, as you've been mentioning. It's going to be one hell of a powerful one here. 90 food. Going to propel him into the next age, and therefore the other age a bit faster. Also found 95 wood in that early game, and even identified that early enough to not collect all of the wood for that house there. As you can see, overgathered 42 wood did Samwise, but that was only because he was collecting wood for his house and then came across the 95 wood treasure and immediately switched them over to food. So these things all stack up. Going to give him perhaps a faster age, but certainly just much more power behind it. And I know H2O is certainly somebody who really does not like playing against Germany. I mentioned that multiple times, and
he's expressed his dislike of the Civ many, many times.
Yep.
But
very tough, that one. Certainly a very strong Civ, yeah.
I'm a bit curious to see what Sam's doing here. He's gathering a lot of wood, and we haven't even seen a single villager transition over to coin. There, it looks like there's going to be the first settler wagon over to coin. So it is going to be something cavalry-based, at least at the start. I was a bit curious about that, whether or not this meant something, whether or not he was going to deviate from the standard. But it looks like with no forward vills going forward, and now that settler wagon continuing to gather coin, that it's not going to be the case.
Yeah, no forward vills, no forward barracks, definitely not crossbow pike, and certainly can never be. Oh, stealing the cows there. Whoops. So they're not cows, they're sheep. But British, what is he up to? Obviously, British in this matchup, or in any matchup, really likes to boom, as we know, build the manners. And the thing is with that, though, you've got time to do it. You don't really have to worry too hard about Germany, sort of pressuring you, because they're not going to do that until they're up to Fortress. So you got enough time to mana boom. But equally, when that pressure comes down, you have to be ready.
Yep.
And British, that is the question. Is Aizamk gonna have gonna be able to get that balance right, booming enough, but also having sort of enough units to face that German onslaught of cavalry that they get for free, and indeed all of those the big four that H2O seems to.
You have to be very careful with Brits in this particular matchup that you don't overboom, because it's very easy to get carried away with your Virginia company and be like, oh, I'm making cheap manners. And then Germany rolls in with 1 billion Ulan, and you just don't have anything. It's like, I've got 10 Musk, and I'm not aging, and I'm in this awkward transition stage where I've got so many villagers and so many resources coming in, but no infrastructure to really create anything, and I'm really just struggling to play from behind, and I just topple over and die to this very strong timing pressure.
Look at that, the Explorer standing on top of that barracks just as the villagers wanted to make it, and then the way he'd shift click them to return to the food, they're not going to be building that. Not going to get his... Oh, he's deleting it there. I thought maybe this is going to delay his unit batch or something, but... yeah, anyway, further to your point, really. But basically, what are you going to do with villagers? Sure, you've got like 650 villagers at the 10-minute mark, maybe more. No use if you can't gather resources because
can't gather resources, or you can't build stuff. Like those units really don't really, or those resources don't really mean that much.
Yeah, but Aizamk is good player. Certainly isn't. Well, I hope he isn't going to overboom. We'll see what he ends up with. 700 wood, very very efficient though, especially with Virginia Company behind it. So lots of manners coming down, and then.
I think we'll see 700 coin. I think we'll see 700 coin behind this. With the stable, I mean, you would expect to see the barracks if he was going to try and hold this in the second age, but we don't see any barracks coming down with this 700 wood, which makes me think that we're likely going to see 700 coin and see just an age 3 follow-up here for Aiz, and he's going to try and fight the German age 3 from age 3 himself. And I mean, certainly that 5 vil, we'll have to see. He does have that trading post, so but I don't know. It's still hard to tell. He may still drop a barracks. And
here we go though. Looks like we have a small engagement. Well, I don't know, he's getting a few extra shots in here. Samwise hasn't turned around to fight. There it is, turns around, but the 2 tomahawks here that do hand damage at range with a ×2 multiplier versus cavalry. At range,
Very strong.
definitely very influential in this fight. Look at that. That's exactly what he wanted to do. Catch these cavalry off guard with these 2 extra tomahawks. And now these Yu'lon aren't going to be as strong because they're not in mass, where obviously they've got such high DPS. If they're all there at once, they're hard to deal with. And certainly, those weren't veteran Yu'lon. They've been killed before that upgrade is going to come. Yeah. And that's really good for Aiz right now.
And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Like part of the nuance of being a good German player is using those first Ulan really effectively and not losing them and not losing a lot of HP on them, because as you mentioned, those Ulan, those 6 or 7 Ulan are so much stronger if they're at high HP and, you know, actively able to contribute to your Age 3 army. I mean, Sam's aged up now, but look, he doesn't have any explicit military. He doesn't have any units to upgrade, and he's going to be in a little bit of an awkward situation until his first shipment comes here, and that's going to be really, really good for Aiz.
Yeah. Because is he going to have enough power now is the question to sort of force his way through into the British economy and stop those villagers from gathering and make it difficult for Brits, because without those Yu'lon, it's going to be a bit tough, a bit more tough, I should say. But certainly still has the big 4, 8 skirms, 7 skirms, and those absolutely insane alarm shipments still to come. British is not off the hook just yet, but is certainly not looking as quite a big hook, perhaps.
And I mean, and Brit is aging. We've said it before. I said it just last game.
Another engagement before the upgrade as well. That's pretty good.
Yeah. The more trades like he can get like this, the absolute better it is for him. It's actually absolutely brutal that he's able to kill this many cav for.
Is it even worth getting the upgrade now?
Well, probably not explicitly. Like, not until you at least send, your first big batch of Ulans. I mean, you'll want it at some point when you ship 9 Ulan, 8 Ulan, but it's not like super important to rush to it. But the more important thing is Aiz is aging, and he's bought himself so much time. He's stopped, that potential scary timing. I mean, imagine if Sam still had all of those Ulans alive from the first engage and all those Ulans from this engage and another card coming, very, very soon. Imagine there was 25 or so vet Ulan out on the field, which there would be had he not lost those initial 6 and those next 4. Like, he would have, right now 25 or 30 Ulan sprinting across the map, and instead that number's like 14. So it's still scary, but it's so much more manageable than 25, right? 25 Ulans is probably you're not able to deal with it, especially not as an aging Brit player who is forced into the slow age up. But 14
at the rate,
maybe
though.
It's a little bit more.
They're heading for the tower, but they're not gonna get there. That was a nice pickup, and here a couple of hostiles coming in, but still, and his Minutemen as well. But yeah, as you're saying, if there were just more Ulan here, it would be so much.
It would just be a massacre, right? It would just be a steamroll.
I just feel like the way these things scale as well. Like, I know obviously it's silly to say, well, if you have more units, you're going to do better. But Yu'lon have such high DPS that scales so hard.
The Barbarian Corsair is doing work.
Where did he get that from?
From the age up, he aged with
with the caravel.
The pirateer and the privateer and the 2 Barbarian Corsairs.
You don't see that one very often.
It's pretty intelligent, actually. I mean, that Barbarian Corsair does do like almost 90 damage versus cavalry.
Jeez.
So
40% melee resist as well.
Yeah,
that guy's
very good against one.
Yeah, it's a Rodellero, right? Like with.
Yeah, essentially. It's a Rodellero on steroids.
And he's got a cool accent when you.
And he's not wearing a shirt, which
that makes him like basically a badass. Like just that just makes the unit more desirable, right?
Sure. And now Brit finds himself in a really good position here. I mean, forcing veteran war wagons out of your opponent is always going to be good when you have dragoons and longbows and stuff to follow it up. And Sam's starting to run out of resources. I mean, SAG does have a tendency to do that, right? After you run out of your first coin mine, your second coin mine can be fairly tenuous to actually defend. And we can see, he's forced out of his base here, and with the super badass Barbarian Corsair sneaking around the map. Things are just going to get more and more difficult.
Look at that, he's armed with his scimitar. Like, wow.
Yeah. He has 0 cares in the world. Unfortunately, does get picked off.
does. I was, I don't know, the scimitar really stood out to me there. I was watching a RuneScape stream of all things today, and certainly I just remember that being the strongest weapon back when I played, at least. I don't know if you have any experience. Anyway, the point is that 2 cannons now out, though. Aizamk looking pretty good. He's held pretty well with all these early sort of engagements, managing to pick off those Yulan. Looking pretty strong here with his 40 villager economy. And his army that is actually, well, certainly rivaling and is bigger. Well, it's not.
He's in a fantastic position. The only real hope that Sam has at this point is to catch, some sort of awkward engagement, catch the 2 Falconets in a bad spot. Certainly, Falconets are a bit awkward to control because they do move so slowly, and they're a bit cumbersome to control. Certainly, the high mobility of the Ulans and the Skirms definitely have an advantage in that regard, but things definitely looking good for Aiz. Definitely has a very scary army at this point, and things are just going to get more and more difficult as that economic disparity continues to grow.
Oh, and Longbowman coming out as well as his shipment. These war wagons truly being rendered useless here. I thought, these are pretty good. They're not, cannons aren't really that good against them. The Dragoons and war wagon trade is kind of even, but the Longbowmen really seal the deal here.
Yeah, and he's just going to be able to continue to push forward here. Look, not having really any fears in the world. The war wagons, of course, do have melee resistance, which makes them infinitely worse against Dragoons than the Dragoon counterpart, which do have ranged resistance. So
I don't think it's quite infinitely worse.
Well,
certainly
infinitely
a lot worse. Yeah,
a lot worse.
Yeah.
A couple Falconets moving up, going to be able to get a volley off on those skirms, and with really just not that much follow-up. I mean, Sam sent kind of the scary shipments, right? 9 Ulan has been sent, 8 Skirm has been sent. He does certainly have 8 Ulan and 7 Skirm still on bank, but I don't think those shipments are more like the supplemental shipments, right? That's when things are going really well for you already. They're kind of like nail in the coffin, like, oh, by the way, here's 8 more Ulans. Try and deal with this. They're not like I'm playing from behind, and this is like 5 Mamelukes, and maybe I'll miraculously, somehow get back into the game. They're more supplemental shipments, and they're not going to win the game explicitly. And now with his resources being pressured here in the front side of his base, going to be very, very difficult to hold here.
Yeah, and he has to hold this, because if he loses his location, he loses the resources there. He's going back now, and I just don't think he's going to be able to do it unless he's got a big batch of units. That's a lot of cav. That's a lot of cav. Where did they come from? 8? Well, I guess he's combined them all up. Is it going to be enough, though? I don't know.
No, it's do or die time. He has to push forward.
Yeah, he's got to do it. The Dragoons, though, aren't going to be too happy about taking hand damage from veteran Ulan. In fact, cavalry actually good against everything that they're doing damage to, including Dragoons. If they're actually doing damage to them, using the Dragoons to body block the cannons just go down. Here's still quite a lot of German units. Germany's still quite scary by the looks of it. We have to remember, actually, Aiz lost quite a few villages earlier, but ultimately, it doesn't look like that's a huge. I mean, he's still 10 vills up. It could be more.
Yeah.
I think Germany managed to push him back here to keep his resources, but Aiz is still going to be making more and more units. Though having said that, switching to a mill in the back.
Yeah. I mean, the clock just keeps ticking, though, right? For Germany, Germany is running out of steam. Pretty soon there are no more shipments. There's one more really scary shipment remaining, which is 7 Skirm plus 3 Ulan. And once that particular shipment has been dealt with, there's very little gas in the tank for the German player, especially as he begins to run out of coin mines. His next coin mine to defend is way the hell out here, and that becomes a very real problem when your opponent, has got a fairly scary army himself and is contesting the middle portion of the map. It's not as big of a deal when you have full map control and you've got your opponent penned up, but that's certainly not the case right now. There's very high tension in the middle part. Here we go,
though. Vega's Lounge. We see 5 Stradiots just join the board. 1,000 coin shipment, funding some Stradiots. And now Aiz is really playing an interesting game. But I feel like Stradiots, despite being good units individually, are perhaps not so good for their cost. 300 coin is quite expensive. I guess they're better than a lot of units, but this combined with building the mill in the back here, and Aiz isn't quite as up as many villages as he needs to be. This, still Germany is a scary army here, and I don't know. We'll see what the Stradiots have to do, but I feel like
The answer's not a lot, actually. It doesn't look like they're adding that much to the fight. The important part is the Dragoon count is still fairly high, able to deal with the fairly low hit point units that are Ulans. We do have to remember they do a lot of damage, but they aren't very beefy. And the result dropping to the veteran Dragoons very, very quickly. Now it is skirmishers versus Dragoons remaining in this, a little bit of an engage, which is very good for Samwise, but I have to expect we're going to see another reinforcing batch of some sort of cab, whether it's those Stratiots or some Hussar or something like that.
It's Stratiots, they're in queue.
Most definitely. And as we mentioned, like, there's just so much tension here in the middle of the map. The second Sam loses access to these coin mines, he does not make any more units. All of German's units are very, very coin dependent, and food not as big of an issue for him. I mean, Ulans only cost 50 food, skirmishers only cost 50 food versus Dragoons, which cost 90, Hussar, which cost 120. So food not as important, but once he loses access to these coin mines in the middle of the map, the German player is done, and so it's very, very important for him to continue to maintain this map position, and it's going to be tough.
It is going to be tough. Like, he's reinforcing, well, Hussar's now in queue, Longbowman in queue, and, well, I don't know if he's going to be making any more Stratiots necessarily, but once these things do arrive, and he does push in, that is probably going to be the defining fight of the game, where Germany either is able to keep for perhaps slightly longer. I don't know, he's going to get pushed off this mine, I feel like he's going to have to, that's coming, is what I'm trying to say. 5 cav in queue. And I think then it'll be go time. But I want to just do an assessment of the Stratiots. I think actually they weren't too bad. He just ran out of hunt at the time, and maybe had some excess coin, especially, well, certainly sent the coin shipment. And maybe they were just basically decided to make them because that's what the resources he had were allowing him to do.
Well, and like we said last stream, right, or last game, stuff is better than no stuff. Like, you're always going to want to try and make as many units as possible. Ooh, big raid down here.
Yeah. Look at that villager gap now, 15 up, essentially. Could be more if that raid hadn't happened earlier, where all those villagers got stuck in the trees. But British, that score certainly climbing.
Yeah, and Sam beginning to get stretched a bit thin here as well in the middle portion of the map. He's got, like we mentioned, so much tension trying to defend these coin mines, and at the same time, the further he shifts down to the south portion of this map to defend these coin mines against the raiding Dragoons, the more he's allowing stuff like this to happen, right? Aiz is creeping back forward. The one kind of saving grace that the German player has had is that the Brit player was not able to gather from this central portion of the map on all this hunt. And now that he's allowed to be able to do so, more units are going to be coming forward. The Brit player going to be able to start mixing in some Hussar and stuff again, which is going to continue to make things very, very, very difficult.
Yeah, but still, actually, this fight is, if you look at the military population, still a very even fight. But we do have 4 Stratiots in queue. They're about to pop, I would imagine, and they're really, those things were 3 population each. They're going to be very, very swingy, especially with all these Hussar mixed in, since Stratiots do so much damage and they have so many hit points.
Oh no, and Sam aggroed the polar bears as well. Had to take the time to kill those. And I think this is just going to be it. I think there's just too much stuff for the blue player. He's got a really nice position, buffering with his cav quite nicely. Veteran Hussar. Yeah, just so many hit points on Hussar, and that's going to be GG.
Very interesting 2 games there.
Yeah, these games have both been very, very back and forth. A lot of tension.
Very enjoyable games, absolutely. There was a good one. I feel like Samwise could have, obviously it's the cavalry, that was the issue, but Aiz doing a very good job of getting those 2 tomahawks involved early on in that fight. They're really forcing it in his favor to sort of get that early sort of outcome. Yeah, and then snowballing, managing to catch the cav again and snowballing that perhaps into a victory.
Both of these games, I've been very impressed with Aiz's early game. His attention to detail with his early units and how crisply he's playing his early games is very impressive. He's I mean, obviously in the first game he kind of slacked off once he got that advantage, but this time able to push that advantage and follow up appropriately. Did lose some villagers, but at the end of the day, it didn't cost him that much, and he was able to hold out in the middle portion of the map and win win a very close game. So well done by him.
I mean, Aizamk and Samwise on Mongolia. I had three messages before the game started. I wanted to look at them, but I don't think I will be able to now until afterwards. But Mongolia, here we have, in the left-hand side of the map here, Aizamk playing as indeed the Chinese.
He's favored China quite a few times on this map, actually.
Maybe. What
no
is
India
about
either.
This map then? Do you think?
Well, it's livestock, right? I mean, livestock are always going to be inherently good for China.
Yeah, I guess you have the villages. Certainly, that's really, really good. Yeah, that's definitely true. But his opponent playing as indeed the Germans on the right hand side here. These are two Fortress Age orientated civs. I think we're in for a micro fest here.
Yeah, and I think this matchup, maybe more than some other matchups, is going to be more build dependent than some other matchups. You certainly, there's always the situation where, China wants to be able to do an FF or whatever. And Germany similarly, a fairly build-oriented civ. Usually you want to make sure things are very crisp with Germany, right? You have to worry about population capping yourself and stuff like that. With civs like Brits or Japan, you don't necessarily need to worry about pop capping yourself or anything like that. So there's a little bit more room for flexibility, but things a little bit more crisp, and they have to be a little bit more defined in the early portions of the game. So we'll have to see how that plays into the map effect and with all these cows. And looks like Sam's already picked up himself a nice 90 wood treasure. He's going to be able to drop down a TP as a result. And
you're definitely doing that. Aiz also throwing down a trading post as China as well. But that 90 wood, really, really nice for, well, I guess it is for every civ, but it's so nice in that early portion when you can sort of incorporate it into your build. By collecting less wood for a house and sort of all that good stuff. That's the nice part about it. That's the most.
But especially in a situation like Mongolia, where it's like the extra coin map. Like now that he's got that 90 wood treasure, which is basically a free crate, like he still has these 2 coin crates that he's going to be able to utilize. So it's just going to make his power spike that much stronger as well. So
perhaps that's why the Aizamk picking this civ as well. Equally, he gets an extra coin crate on this map that normally you wouldn't get on any other map. So civilizations that do like to Fortress Age, fast Fortress, like China, and indeed Germany as well. Certainly they do, the semi-FF, which isn't, I guess, the coin. Still useful though, is what I'm saying here. Certainly, it does give you a more powerful timing, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I mean, it makes it so that you can just focus on gathering only food in the early portion of the game, which is nice. It extends the life of your coin mine, which isn't as important on this map because you're always guaranteed that big 5k coin mine in the middle of your base. But certainly it does extend the life of your coin mine if you're playing a civ like Germany, which is very coin mine dependent, like we saw last game. Can be somewhat of a situation that you'll have to consider. Interestingly enough, that Aiz did send 300 wood as his first shipment and has built 2 additional villages.
Oh wow, I didn't notice this. He does this a lot.
We saw him do something, something similar to this last.
It's his Chinese build. I saw him do it in the tournament every time he plays China. It's not that bad. He still ends up sending the northern refugees. If you think about it, this is essentially 1.5 villages when you finally get around to sending northern refugees, which he does do. And also, it means you won't have to worry about losing those villages if there is any sort of shenaniganry aggression. But then I guess if you're sending 300 wood, you are sort of going to be quite slow. But that's another point, I guess. If you get away with it, it's really good.
Yeah, and he's doing the same build that we saw him do last time he played on this. And I forget who he was playing against when he did this. It might have been maybe Mito. But he did something similar to this as well, and it actually worked surprisingly better than I thought it would.
Yeah, against Germany, I think it's actually pretty good. I mean, Germany don't rush you. Or they can, but they often don't because it's better to not do that, right? Like going up to fortress is so
fairly
good with
unlikely.
Germany. But so yeah, you have the time to get away with this, and you'll probably be up at a similar time to Germany. Traditionally, China can, or any civ that fast fortresses gets up at about 7 minutes 30, and the 3 villages I guess do slow you down, but Germany semi-FFing is never going to be quite as fast, and I feel like a straight up fast fortress is going to be stronger. Initially in that first push, and maybe that's what Aizamk sort of wants to sort of carry the game here.
The one thing I don't really like about this particular build that he did is how many of his yaks he killed in 8 just to like salvage a somewhat respectable age up time. I mean, part of the strength of picking China on this map is that you're going to have those villages that are going to be able to fatten the yaks, and then he went and like just ate 4 or 5 yaks, which sure, it does help him age up faster, and it is important to not be lagging behind your opponent in terms of age up, but at the same time, that's a huge advantage that you're kind of forfeiting as the game progresses towards mid game, and as the German player is going to age up and is going to be applying pressure to you, you're no longer going to have that food to help
power spike, right?
Yeah, you're not going to have that food to help get you through the tough times around the 6 or 7 minute mark when your opponent is going to be raiding you, and that's something that maybe concerns me a little bit. We'll have to see whether or not that plays into this game here when Sam gets out his first 7 cav, and whether or not there's plentiful enough food for him to actually get aged up and do something about it as well.
I agree with you. Exactly, like obviously these fatten up to 400. That's absolutely incredible. But maybe that's why he does do this build on maps like this where there are livestock, because he knows it's so slow and that you need the livestock that you find on the map to get up at a respectable time. Perhaps it's something he's tested. I don't know, but equally, certainly not eating them is very good indeed. But here it comes, the raiding you were talking about. 5 cav, or 4 actually. Well, no, it is 5, plus the 2 from the shipment that you get for free. Incoming here.
Yeah. And just look at the food though. There's no food left, and so even though Aiz is going to get aged up, like there's not any food left here on the map, and it's just going to be really difficult for him to deal with. But Sentry's coming out, going to be able to push away the first batch.
Protecting the Chocanu, that's pretty good as well. They could have easily gone down very, very quickly to cavalry, but Sentry's pushing them away.
And this is the important thing, though, that I wanted to highlight, like last game. Notice Sam still has his cav left alive, and that's a very important aspect of this build, because he can keep those alive. He's going to age up here very soon. We can see he's got the resources now, and Bankin is now aging. And as long as he doesn't explicitly lose those cav, he was still able to force Minutemen to be called. He was still able to, garrison some villagers. He was still able to force some disciples to be trained. All major wins for him in that regard. But he still hasn't lost a single Ulan, and he's still going to be able to, upgrade those and have them be very, very strong for him as he progresses to the next stage. So the more of these Ulans he can keep alive, and the more of them he can keep alive at high HP, while still doing some sort of damage to his opponent, still causing some sort of threat, still, killing villagers, still forcing idle time,
keeping him alive.
The better off he's going to be. He has done a lot of damage with these cows.
Yeah, I like what he's done here. Those Chocanu, picking them off before the Arquebusier coming out. Oh no, traditionally going up with Arquebusier, but the skirmisher units that pop out and having the cavalry nearby to kill them off is good. But going up with resources by the looks of it.
Yeah, I think he has intentions of going to the 4th age, like similarly to what we saw last time he did this. He did something very similar. I think the last time we actually saw him do this build, he aged with the White Padoga, with the
That's true.
With the monk and disciples wonder, and I don't know. It's just like there's not resources left in his base. Like there's no hunt. And now Germany has gotten to this point where he's going to be scary Germany stuff. Look at the Ulans sprinting across the map. There are 15 Ulans out on the field right now for Samwise12.
That 9 shipment has arrived. I saw that on my little thingy, and there they are, coming in
The
the base
veterancy
now,
upgrade has just
terrorizing these units, these villagers. They're not going to be able to do anything. And then, you know, when this first shipment, I assume he's going to send a shipment, pops out, it just gets wrecked by Cav.
Yeah. I mean, he's got to ship something like 11 Chengdao or something as his next shipment. He doesn't have the resources to send Manchu. He doesn't really even have the resources to train like territorial army. And the one thing we do have to remember is that
we're going to lose these meteor hammers.
the one thing we have, oh man, this might just be game. Like if Sam can get wedged in here and kill the villagers, rest in pieces. And they're just not able to do anything, and Sam's just having his way inside Aiza's base at this point.
Having his way with him.
Yes, and there's very
oh,
little
rip
Rying
Throw. Wow, Rying Throw. Oh no, he doesn't go there. The Rying Throw is okay, Zuta. Well, it's not all.
Oh, that kind of sucks. What happens when you send intervention but you don't have a consulate?
It does come eventually.
Okay. Interesting.
Once you build the consulate, it arrives. I came across this beforehand in a commentary, and I was like, oh my god, he's not gonna get it. What a bad time. Oh wait, there it is. This was back in the tournament. But even though they're here, it's such a good shipment, but when there are so many units in your base, it does... Oh my goodness. And that flying throw, sit down, son!
Yeah. And this is, I mean, there's some units
pop.
out, but there's nothing he can really do. Like, he's caught in this awkward spot. I mean, naturally, I think he wanted to age using the Summer Palace to get to the third age, but we can see he sunk all of his resources into just trying to not die, and, I mean, he's not even doing that successfully, right? I mean, he's most definitely, I think by anyone's measure, this is dying.
Go back! I think this was just a very ambitious build. Aizamk's certainly a good player, but perhaps the ambition behind this. Oh, there comes out the anti-cav!
That's certainly what he's going to need to be able to get back into this thing. I mean, he's definitely got the cav tractor as well, which is definitely good for him. At the same time, just look at the villager count disparity as well, like 9 villager count. And the most important thing is there's still nowhere to gather resources from. Like, go back to those cows. Now imagine if he had 9 cows to fall back onto right now. He could fairly quickly recover at least some sort of food economy and then maybe be okay. But that's just not happening now, right? There are no cows left. There's these 2 yaks, which are going to give him 800 food, and then the well runs dry.
I feel like there have literally been cavalry in his base since the 6-minute 30 mark.
Yeah.
That's just been it. Like, yeah.
And that's just kind of what Germany's prerogative is in this matchup, right? It's really hard for China to ever pull together enough anti-cav at any one go to be able to deal with this kind of prolonged, like, pure 1 unit spam. You can do this against China with almost any unit type. You can do it with muskets too. Like, they just can't get together enough ranged infantry to deal with some sort of mass. And that's always been kind of China's big Achilles heel in the Fortress Age, is big tech switches and like large masses of heavy cavalry, just because it's very difficult to deal with like the single unit composition. I mean, the way you kind of balance that out is by shipping, you know, your very strong shipments. But at some point, like, he's just run out of anti-cav shipments, right? He sent intervention. He sent 11 Changdao swordsmen. He could potentially have a Quang pikeman shipment in his deck, but at that point, he just is completely out of anti-cav shipments. And then what does he go from there when Germany continues just to make only Ulans?
Yeah. China always had that issue. Yeah. This build though, it just maybe I think the only issue is the greed. If he'd gotten away with it though, he would have looked like a genius, and we'd be like, oh my goodness. But I'm gonna mention again that flying throw pops so satisfyingly when it gets destroyed.
It's like a firework.
It is. It's literally a firework.
Yeah, it's just a big firework.
Yep, but that concludes this game. A fairly one-sided beatdown. Aizamk just being too ambitious with his industrial age intentions.
Yep, I think that's a perfectly adequate summary.
Well, there we go. I'll take a look at the post-game and we'll head on out into the next one. Don't go anywhere, guys. This is a best of 7. The score is 2-1 in Samwise's favour. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Saturday Smackdown. Game number 4 in this series. The score is 2-1 in Samwise's favour. Aizamk being a little bit ambitious in that last game. Has switched it up to the Russians for Kamchatka here. And we'll start with him. Here he is in the north of the map, spawning with nothing but food except a wood and a coin crate. So, not really my definition of nothing but food is yeah. Anyway, in the south of the map, though, we do indeed have the French Samwise12 playing as the green.
Indeed.
Another interesting matchup.
Yeah, this is one of those matchups that I always keep going back and forth on in my head. Like, I'm not sure who I want to say is better in the matchup, because I frankly don't know. I think it's probably very map dependent. On a map where there's a lot of resources and the Russian player can't as easily deny resources by just continually applying pressure and controlling the map, French probably has a little bit better of a time. But on maps where there's limited resources and things can be a little bit more tricky to lock down, then it almost feels like it's Russian favored. So I think a fairly map dependent map, but overall a fairly close matchup as well. So another very interesting matchup that we have lined up here.
I feel Russia has its own problems in every game, but I guess it's playing around that and not letting them really be problems. I mean, if French can get up to the next stage, if they somehow sneak that in, you as Russia are then in a tough spot.
Yeah, but you've also really failed as Russia.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to let them do that. You've got to be aggressive and not let them get up. Yeah. And make sure you can bring that game as a drawn-out colonial. That's what you're aiming for. I personally feel like French is the civ I would prefer to be in this matchup.
Yeah, I think on this map, when you have a very safe coin mine and you have extra hunts, as long as he has lots of hunts, then he's probably going to be okay. But at the same time, on a map just think of a map like Mongolia or even Sag, where the hunts can be fairly limited and out front of your base. Certainly something like Yukon or Sonora. All maps that are in the standard map pool that French, I think, can really struggle on in this particular matchup, because Russia can very effectively seal off the required resources that the French player needs to be able to continue his Age 2 agenda, and that can make it very difficult. So not going to be necessarily the case on this map, where there's plentiful hunts. We can see lots of hunts that Samwise can herd in towards his base, and going to be more difficult for Russia to have that agenda. But we'll have to see how many forward bases we see out of the blue player, how he decides to try and lock down the map. And maybe picking up the French scout. Yeah, he does.
Nicely done. Always worth doing that if you can. That scout gives them so much knowledge. They can put it in stealth. They can see all of your units coming out and that you don't even know it's there. That thing is France. That's such a good bonus that France gets. I feel like that's often overlooked, and it's the thing that actually allows France to be so flexible. A flexible civ can do pretty much anything, and the scout to go with it, so they actually know what to do.
If you think about French's kit in general,
kit,
their kit is very it's just so general. They have 6 builds they can do, and they have the ability to have this extra scout, which can give them so much intel. Everything is just so generalized with French that it's very difficult to out knowledge them or out just do a build that wins. There's not as much build or win. You have to play very consistently and play very well against French and have very good unit control and macro and stuff like that to be able to beat a French player.
I think it's a good civ to start with if you're new to Age of Empires, or if you're trying to teach someone. Again, with lots of the matchups as well, but equally because there's so many different things you can do, as we've pointed out many times, and also because it plays a more traditional Age of Empires civ, in the sense that its bonus is, it doesn't really have one. Its bonus is just the villages are slightly more expensive. I feel like that's more of a generic Age of Empires civ.
Yeah.
Anyway, they're both going up now. We do see some forward villages coming out of Aizamk.
Forward.
Yeah, gonna lock down.
Gonna lock down this hunt.
Yeah,
but I mean, if you think about locking down that hunt, that's probably the fourth hunt, maybe, I guess, that Sam's going to be worried about. So, like, you know, on some maps, this would be like your second, or this would be like your third hunt, right? And so locking down your opponent's third hunt is much more beneficial with the Russian blockhouse than it is, you know, locking down their fourth or fifth hunt, which arguably, you know, gives French a lot more flexibility, especially when he's, you know, managed to pick up 5 or 6 goats as well. In fact, 7 goats now on their way towards the town center for the French player. So lots of food available to him, and curious to see what Sam is got in store for us, whether or not it's going to be just a single stable, or maybe that ever popular Samwise12 build that we've all come to know and love by name.
I was hoping that I'd be able to make the joke. Oh, there it is.
There it is.
It's never this exciting. It's only this exciting when Samwise does it. I don't know. Any other person doing this would just like, standard French.
Well, it's the build you expect to see out of French in this matchup, right? Like he knows that he's probably going to get pressured. He knows he's going to have to deal with, you know, like a 5 Cossack shipment or something like that, which indeed now is on its way. And it's just like the correct response, but it's just exciting.
Yeah, that shipment is so good. That shipment is just so good. And they take out the Explorer there. 750 resources worth of stuff. Look at that, the cheeky Cossack going around the other side. I thought that was a pro move. They're going to go perhaps harass a villager, but it looks like it's a little bit lonesome.
He's been misrallied. If nothing else, he's getting some decent scouting information though as well. I don't know that he explicitly had the stable and the barracks scouted, so he's at the very least going to have knowledge that there is both of those facilities available for the French player.
He knows what's going on here, but yeah. Russia just makes quite an overwhelming amount of stuff to deal with, actually, to begin with. If they send 5 Cossacks followed by 4, or 13 Strelets even, and it's actually quite a lot. But for France, you know, he's got the hunt, as we've been mentioning, and it looks like he's okay. I feel like sometimes when I play as France in this matchup, I don't like making so many cav. I'll like skip on the cav just to make sure I get out 5 musks. Like I just feel like I have to do that in this matchup.
Sure.
But also he's got lots of villages which have, you know, tons of HP. I feel like France is in a good position here, especially now these 8 crossbows have arrived.
Yeah. And one thing I do want to point out though is Sam has cut his steel traps. Usually steel traps is fairly standard in this build.
Oh, he's getting it now, just now.
We can see he's getting
very
it now,
delayed.
But he cut it early just so that he had enough coin to make sure he got out, you know, an adequate amount of hussar and muskets at the same time to be able to deal with this impending forward pressure that was going to come towards his base. So a small adaptation there from what would, I guess, normally be more the standard build, but an adequate one as well, making sure that he gets out, prioritizing getting out the units so that you just don't die. Is always going to be an appropriate adaptation.
Yep. And then 4 vills afterwards. Obviously, be nice to get the 4 vills before the 8 Seabos, but not always the safest thing to do. Perhaps the more greedy thing. But looking pretty good here. He's got a very nice economy. 21 villages, which certainly, if we did the calculation, would be a lot higher than Aizamk's. Though Aiz does have 2 trading posts, and it's, you know, sent 700 wood behind it to achieve that, and 700 coin. And, yeah. Identified he's not going to make units and harass here. He's falling back on something more. 10 Strelets, though!
Those are some very ambitious Strelets.
Yeah, where were they going?
They were, they're off on an adventure.
Yeah.
I'm curious to see how Aiz is going to follow this up. We can see another blockhouse being made. He's just trying to solidify this position in the middle of the map, and I think he's hoping that he can keep Sam interested in Age 2 play for long enough that Sam doesn't just, like, age or something like that.
Is this go time for Sam? Is he running out? No, he's not running out of hunts. He's just feeling like it's time to go. I feel like, would it be best to wait until, like, your hunts are running out and then you think, now I have to go? Or
well, you can also see that his opponent has invested into at least 2 trading posts. He knows that his opponent has built 1 blockhouse. He's likely going to see the 2nd blockhouse. So he knows his opponent has invested quite a few resources just into infrastructure and into buildings. And that kind of signals that, you know, your opponent has likely been sending crates of some sort, probably doesn't have nearly as much army, and now that this is just as good as time as any to get out of his base, try and secure back the middle portion of the map, and then maybe look to transition to an age up if you don't think you can outright win it with this timing.
Yeah, I feel like Russia wants maybe 2 more minutes before this starts to happen, but not all of his army is in position. A lot of the fighting is happening before these Cossacks arrive, and now the Cossacks going to have to fight primarily muskets, which obviously countered them here. Going to bring them down all the way to to fight off the green cavalry, but by this time all his strelets are dead, and certainly a lot of the cavalry or whatever else was there.
And this is looking to be fairly good for French. Still has a lot of Hussar left. Going to be able to clean up these Cossacks, no problem. Was able to do a pretty good job of keeping most of his crossbows well defended, even against the flank that did roll in. And despite the fact that Aiz is called Minutemen, has been fighting under blockhouses, Samwise holding strong, able to fairly efficiently kill this army, and now with still a very strong economy behind this, is going to be able to pick off any straggling units, and I would be very surprised if we don't see a big reinforcing batch. Here we see at least 7 more muskets coming, and likely going to be seeing a batch of Hussar come out here very, very soon as well.
Yep. And goodbye blockhouse. This is such a look at the. He managed to get the 4 Vils out, obviously, and he sort of defended with the early 8 crossbows. But then after that, 3 Hussars for the push, 700 food now, just to continue making units. Yeah. Really, really just, that's the... I like this.
Yeah, I mean, his commitment is to age 2 right now, right? That's what the 3 Hussar 700 food signals. Yep. He doesn't have any intentions of aging. He is going to end this game in the 2nd age, and he's just primarily trying to get out as many units as he possibly can now. He knows that he's just killed all the infrastructure for the Russian player, really slowed him down, and just wants to keep that tempo advantage that he's built, just wants to continue to bully his way across the map. We can see that the Russian player is frantically trying to reestablish infrastructure in his base, but at the same time, running out of resources, doesn't have, a lot of those resources left, and now that he's lost tempo, this is going to be a very, very difficult push for him to hold.
Yeah, I feel like the trading posts definitely needed a bit more time to pay off before that fight started happening. Certainly 2 blockhouses needed a bit more time before double production. And really, Samwise hitting him hard in the spot before anything was really before he was ready for it, and ultimately winning the game here.
Yeah, that was a good read
done.
by Sam. That was a good read by Sam, and I think he queued off the 2nd trading post being built in, and potentially maybe even the 2nd blockhouse being built as well. That my opponent has just spent a lot of resources, at least around 500 wood, in building stuff, and I've shipped 8 crossbows, right? Like, I need to go. If I don't go now, my 8 crossbows look pretty foolish just standing underneath my town center. And he was able to push out at just the right time, break the contain fairly easily, and then just snowball it into, now I've got this scary massive Hussar that you can't deal with, and snowball it into a win. So really well done by him to identify that little bit of a timing window that he had, and then push that advantage and push it into the win.
There's that. I couldn't add any more than that to it. Nicely summarized. That does end that game though. Another fairly short decisive victory in Samwise's favor. As you said, a really nice read. I feel like everything that he did that game just counted Aiz perfectly. It was really, really well done. Really well executed. The Samwise12 French build, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go anywhere. Next game coming up right about now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Great Plains. We were just talking about the Great Plains. We were saying how we don't see it very much anymore. There was a time where people were playing it a lot. And now it's not seen it play in a while. Perhaps it's time to start playing on Great Plains again. It's a good map, as we were saying. There is that. But Aizamk playing as the French now, switching positions with Sam. At least in terms of playing France. Now he isn't playing France when before it was Sam. Spawning with 200 wood there, likely to see that trading post. There goes that Explorer sprinting straight towards the middle, I would imagine. That iconic, middle TP start on Great Plains where you just lay that thing down and you get so much XP because you really don't have any right to get 135 XP as soon as you've laid down your trading site. That's pretty good. But looks like India going straight there as well, though. I don't think he is going to be wanting to lay it down. And certainly even if he did, isn't going to be able to do it. But yes, India in the north of the map here. ZutaZuta.
There's some like sneaky things you can do with India when you start with that much wood, right? Like he can go and put down the foundation and build it at like 1 or 2%, and then just leave it there. And he can always like cancel it and get back and only lose like 2 or 3 wood for it, and force the French explorer to run all the way back to his base, which can be a pretty huge advantage in itself, just because now like you've got 2 elephants out on the map, and French is committed to this idea of the trading post, and so he's got to run all the way back to his base, gets 0 scouting information, 0 information on where the treasures are, and you only lose like 1 or 2. You only lose 1 or 2 wood for the cost of it. So
equally though, I don't think it's as OP as it sounds, because you could just siege it. Like it's not going to take long to kill if the enemy explorer does just walk away.
But you'll miss the
you might miss your
thing.
1-3-5 batch. So there is that.
But you 100% will, right? Because it's a very close timing. You don't have like an extra 5 seconds to burn in the middle part of the map. You have to drop it down right now. So even if they siege it down, it's like, okay, like I still only lost 3 wood and you lost, your first pass. Like if that happens, if it's a situation where India gets down the trading route at all, like the French player, if he wants to get XP in one of the first 2 passes, has to immediately turn around and go and build it back at home.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Perhaps I'm generally curious to know what you think here, but what do you think if this does make its way into summer tournament? Is that middle TP something we just get rid of? Perhaps, or maybe add 2 there, like 1 on each side. I think that you can.
I'm not even convinced it's that good. Like, look at what Sam's doing here now, right? Like, he's gonna have the Agra Fort down early in the middle portion of the map, and that trading post is almost more a liability than anything else. Like, sure, he got the insanity shipment from it, right? I mean, look at when he got his 3 CDB shipment. He got
143.
That's insanely early, which is really, really good. But moving forward now, that trading post is in the most awkward position in the world to defend, and it's not like it's going to be super, super good moving forwards. I mean, it's like I said, it's a liability. It's out in the middle of the map. 2 Sepway are going to come out at like the 5-minute mark and start sieging it. And as the French player, how do you deal with that? Like, how do you adapt to that? It's a bit of a trade-off. So although it is very, very strong, I don't know if it's necessarily brokenly strong.
I'm just remembering back to these Iroquois mirrors in PK Tournament 4 where both players would walk straight for the middle and then one wouldn't get it, and it would just be the most BS-y thing because one player just gets
with
it.
When Eero and Otto are in the mix, things are certainly much different because those civs both have the means to defend trading posts much easier than a lot of other civs. But that comes down to Eero and Otto having additional issues with their civ strength than just
here we go. Treasure contention though. Blue taking on a grizzly bear, green coming in for the moment. Now 80 wood is at stake here, both players on top of it. I think blue went down first, but then he misclicked or something.
He misclicked. I think he clicked twice and Sam ends up picking it up. That's really gonna suck for him because
nice job.
80 wood is such a huge advantage for India moving forwards, especially when he's looking. Yeah, he did. Notice that too.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I need wood.
And here we go. Like, here's the 10-10. It's real. And these 2 Sepoy, like, I wouldn't even be mad if they just went over and started sieging the TP. Like, they could.
Yeah.
Although, interestingly enough, look at Aiz' build. He's aged up with it looks like the governor, and he's going to
a tower as France. Okay.
He's going to straight FF. I mean,
France FF. Like, I've toyed around with that. Like, France have a hidden 10% bonus to that. 4 Vils coming out. All right, maybe not like a naked standard 700 coin FF, but still some sort of eco focus here. Certainly wants some protection. Maybe it was just a he sees he started, like, he knows Aizamk knows he started with 200 wood. Therefore, his opponent will have that. Perhaps read that as being perhaps a 10-10 and just thought, I want an outpost to defend against it.
Yeah. And I love this decision as well from Sam. Going to be able to pick up this 370 or 320 XP treasure. He's also going to be able to kill the trading post similarly. Oh, that was maybe a mistake too. You should probably just kill the Guardians here with some of the Sepoy, to be honest, because now he's just taking like a lot of random damage. But there's going to be such a huge XP swing. He's going to be able to kill the trading post and pick up this 320 XP treasure, which is going to be really, really good for the India player in the long term.
Very, very strong. 700 coin coming down behind this now, though. Okay, this looks good. It looks like he's going to be out of age up on time, and apparently the 10% bonus to the French receiving shipments, similar to the Spanish bonus, is a myth.
Oh no! Oh no! Aiz sniped it. He saw it going down. He
he stole the
saw it with
treasure.
his scout and he
How did
stole
I miss that? Oh, I'm so sad. But yeah, Maito just told me in the chat that apparently what I was saying was not true. But I did honestly think French received their shipments quicker.
It's 10% slower, actually.
Is it slower?
Yeah.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah, I do believe that's true.
All right. Well, Losers' trading site does, however, compensate a little bit by picking up the XP treasure there and denying his opponent that, and is in a good spot. He's not really been harassed too much. He's going up to the next age, is basically there. What do you think of the age fast option here, though? I feel like, yeah, you have it, but when you're doing like an FF, this kind of FF, you don't really have. You need you might as well go up with 6 guns because you need the extra time to generate resources before you can really start building anything.
Yeah, well, at the same time, he does have a shipment ready for him, right? So I mean, he can immediately send it. Yeah, I mean, he did have a shipment available.
Oh, he sent it. Okay.
Yeah. Remember how quickly he had that trading post down, which is translates into a lot of XP. But we'll see. I'm still not convinced. Like, his eco's a bit in shambles. He's only got 20 vills. Sam hasn't played, super greedy mode. I love his decision. He definitely had with the 10-10 the ability to just like go pure aggression. He could have done something like shipped 5 sepoy and built 5 sepoy and like pushed forward with 12 sepoy really, really early, but instead threw on the handbrake, said, you know what, there's a tower in your base, you're French, you have strong CDBs, you're probably going to be able to get aged up no matter what I do, and just put on the brakes, ship 600 wood, diplomatic intrigue, and now his eco is in a fine position. He's got good market upgrades. He's established his infrastructure. He's got the Ottoman consulate. He's got himself a stable down as well, and is just in a really strong economic position moving forward here as well.
Absolutely. Got good upgrades. As you mentioned, 4 vills has arrived. There it is, coming out. Extra villages, really quite nice. Looking good. A town center going down. Interesting stuff. I like his. I don't know. I feel like Aiz just makes this up as he goes along. Like
this is 100% a corner cut move. This is Aiz predicting that his opponent is trying to age behind this, and as you and I can both see, that's not necessarily true. We can see Sam has built a stable and has been training Gurkhas and Sepoy, and is likely going to be following this up with some sort of timing push. And certainly if the India player, we're saying like, okay, I'm going to just kind of play back semi-FF behind this, know that, you're not going to be applying any pressure to me super early because you straight FF'd, that I'm going to be okay to age, but that's not necessarily the case. And actually, Aiz might be trying to straight FI, which might just be complete suicide with this timing push that Sam's going to be putting together here.
Yeah, I think you're right. Here it comes. He's not going to be too happy about seeing those. He's going to be much preferring his opponent with the age up option that we were mentioning. I feel like what he's doing here would be very, very strong if Samwise perhaps did age up. Very strong indeed, but doesn't look like he's going to get away with it. Yeah, he's aging, but then he'll be up, and then what? He will have no resources to make anything. Yeah, he'll have access to the industrial age shipments, but you don't just spend 3,200 resources just to get access to those. They're not that good.
Well, it's not just that too, right? Like, you spent the 2,200 to get to the 3rd age as well. At this point, like, he hasn't trained a single. Well, I guess he's trained like these 3 or 4 Dragoons,
which are doing a good job.
Yeah, but at the same time, I don't know, like two heavy cannons. Like, what's that going to do in this situation? And I wonder if Sam's got a read on this. Like, he's not seeing anything like come out here. And naturally, there's no fast age up to the 4th age, so it's going to be hidden for a little bit longer. But I wonder.
I think he's guessed it. Like, there's no resistance here. Like, what else is he doing? Like, where's the resources he's been collecting being going? I guess is what's going through his mind. That stable looks like it's going to go down, and then there's zero infrastructure to deal with this. Also, what do you think of the town center?
The town center over here on the right hand
I
side.
just feel like if you're surely that 1,000 wood would be better spent elsewhere. Like,
well, it was a corner cut move, right? Like I said, it was just 100% a corner cut. He was just hoping that Sam was going to age, and if Sam aged and he was able to, like, you know, use that town center and like just get like a huge ball rolling, he would just snowball this into an easy, fast win. But now it just looks completely foolish. It just looks like he's wasted resources because Sam hasn't aged up, has decided instead just to build units and is now circle sieging his TC, and there's really not a lot that that can be defended as a result of that.
I don't know. I feel like Aiz would have looked like an absolute genius if Samwise had aged up. We'd all be sitting here going, "Whoa, what a pro!" But oh, here comes the 8 plus the 2 cannons he aged up with. If they stay alive convincingly, if he can kill off these sours, they'll be good. But doesn't look like he's going to be able to. But it was a nice timing there, popping the 2 cannons out with the Minutemen. And
he was able to keep one of the cannons alive. And I mean, Sam doesn't necessarily...
I think he's going to clear this up. He's got lots of vills there. They're upgraded with both upgrades at that market. The unit's trying to get forward to finish off this low HP cannon. It does go down, but not before all of the sepoys are destroyed. Yes, he's up to industrial. Yes, he's held it, but he is now a town center down, which isn't sort of the biggest problem. He does have a town center, but... I don't know, just doesn't have any resources now to make use of it. And behind this, I mean, Sam is the biggest economy.
Yeah, I mean, 36 villagers versus 22 CDBs, and you're down a town center. Like, okay, he is in the 4th age. He can do stuff like ship, you know, 2 heavy cannons, which are going to be difficult to deal with. Sam doesn't really have the option to age at this point. He is going to be forced into fighting this very awkward tech discrepancy, but... assuming his economy is good enough to be able to mass back up, and presumably the French player can't get any sort of, you know, age 4 upgrade for his dragoons or anything like that. He just doesn't have the resources to do that. He should be able to pull together a big enough mass of Durkas.
He's doing what he needs to do, though, taking out a couple villages here and there. If he keeps that up, certainly still in the running for this. 2 heavy cannons have arrived. These things, look at what... oh, that guy, he just... oh my goodness, holy shit. Oh god, how do you... like, these things are so big. Look how many hit points they have. 475 hit points on a cannon that does 200 bombard damage.
At the same time, like, those cannons are on the clock. They have to win him the game very, very quickly because Sam's applying a little bit of counter pressure here, and that's beginning to get more and more awkward to deal with. This may turn into a game yet because I mean, Aiz has these...
look at his score. It's ahead of Samwise at this point. And look, look at the Minutemen killing the villagers on the other side, just doing everything he needs to do to get this back. Gonna lose definitely, probably that town certainly could kill some houses. These 2 cannons, certainly Samwise in no position to kill those just yet. Fighting against this industrial age guy in the colonial age.
Here it comes.
Yeah. Can they get through though? Are they gonna...
oh my god.
Holy... wow, okay. I'm seeing some comments in the chat saying this isn't Aizamk, this is Boning. No, this is Aizamk. Boning doesn't do this. I've known Aizamk for so long. This is definitely... oh my god! Wow. Samwise calls the game just there. I want to just reiterate what I was saying. This is an Aizamk build. I just... Boning wouldn't do this. This is not a Boning style thing. Like, I've seen Aiz play so many times. This is an Aizamk thing. This is his style. This is copyright Aizamk YOLO swag with the copyright sign. That... oh wow, what did we just see, Zuta?
He managed to win. I don't know, like, two heavy cannons.
Did Sam just go in a bit too soon? Like, did he overestimate the power of his sours versus the cannons there?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there was any huge rush for him to really, like, push forward. Like, the 2 heavy cannons were always going to be there, and that was going to be about as scary as it was going to get. Maybe he was a bit more scared about, like, the next shipment, but I don't know that there was, like, any other scary shipments, like, available, really. Like, what else does French have? We saw the 8 dragoons. We saw the 2 heavy
There's
cannons.
6 cuirassiers as well, which is pretty good.
Doesn't have it in deck.
Does he not? I can't see. I can't access the deck for some reason. I love how everyone's in the chat was at first like, yeah, Aiz has been working on the new UI for to be a good player, and then like it's like, oh, this build is so good. The chat switch was real. I thought that was kind of amusing to see. I was even saying, if Aiz wins, he'll look like a genius.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think Sam just like underestimated the strength of those two cannons and just like kind of charged headlong in and didn't really have. He didn't really have to, I don't think, rush into that fight that early. I think he would have been just fine, chilling out for a minute. And but either way,
absolutely,
a really interesting game.
Like, even in that fight, as Rajaput were, like, on the other side of the map, just, like, chilling. They could certainly have been helping.
Sure.
That is the end of the game. Another very short, decisive win by the looks of it. Aizamk, at the end of this game here, looks like a very, very strong force. Where earlier we were in his base just thinking, oh god, Aiz, you're being too ambitious today. But paying off, and I'm glad it did. That was really weird. But don't go anywhere, guys.
The awkwardness is real.
Next game coming up right about now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Saturday Smackdown. This is game number 5.
Number 6.
3, 4. Oh yeah, I looked at the stream because I got it paused and I looked at the score 3-2. I added 3 and 2 together and thought, yep, 5. This game 5. That's what it is. And I said it, and I was wrong.
Math is hard.
Math is, yes. So is East and West, apparently, which is why I use left and right.
Spawning! We're gonna struggle on this one, then, because this is a straight up West.
This is definitely
West.
Don't worry, I got left and right for this. It's fine.
Right.
I know what Eastern thingy is, but it's, like, I mentally have to think about it every time. I don't know. I guess if I'd grown up in the US, it would be a more integral part of, like I'd have more reason to know it.
Sure.
Because of time zones and stuff. I don't know, it's probably embarrassing. I don't think it doesn't reflect the UK sort of...
Does it reflect your education system?
No, I think it just reflects me. I think most people... I don't know. Spawning, though, in the left-hand side of the map, in the colour green, we do have Samwise playing as the Chinese now. Get to see Samwise's take on China, which I suspect will be one we're significantly more familiar with than perhaps Aiz's. But early trading post going down. Is he going to get it up in time? Here it goes.
I don't think he is. No,
it's definitely not. But it could have... No, it is definitely out.
Yeah, like he missed it by a good 5 or 6 seconds. But either way, he's still got a 90 food treasure over here in his pocket, so he's going to be able to pick that up, and that's definitely going to help him just as much. So, well, maybe not just as much, but it's still going to be very beneficial.
Yeah, 90 food though. That's pretty good. At a trading post, as China gonna be getting up pretty quick. Get that 700 coin on the way a bit quicker. Get that age up in queue a bit quicker. China gonna be very happy about that. But we do have the Portuguese. I like this Civ.
Yeah.
I love seeing Ports and Spain play. I really do.
This is gonna catch Sam by surprise too, because we can you and I can already see Aiz is doing like one of his patented 10-10 builds, right?
Yeah.
But Sam is not going to think that that's going to be how a Portuguese player approaches this matchup. From Sam's perspective, the Portuguese player should be like trying to FF as well, like not rushing you as the Chinese player. So,
oh god, Aizamk.
It's going to be a very rude awakening to him when like the Portuguese players like shipping muskets and like standing on top of his resources like really early in the game, but. We'll see how Sam deals with it. I suspect he's not going to be aware that this is what this particular Portuguese player is likely to do.
I think he'll easily either get away with this, and Sam will just be caught so off guard that it will just hurt, or Sam will adapt to it really well and just be like, "What the hell are you doing?"
Yeah, like this is foolish. What is this?
And then just like it'll be one or the other.
Yeah. Interestingly enough, Sam is going down here to drop down a second trading post. So, I mean, things are going to be a bit slower from his FF front as well. We can see he's already got... He's shipped the trading post.
Yeah, what is Trade Empire all about? What, over North thingy?
Over Northern Refugees. I
guess he's only got one village, so it would only be a 2-villager shipment. So, I can see the merit there. Didn't want to collect his 100... Maybe, I think, he got that 90 food... And maybe that's what influenced the decision. Knew he could age up a bit faster, and instead of collecting the 100 wood for the village, instead of, or whatever it is for the village, instead of doing that, just combine it with the fact that he found 90 food and perhaps plan a really much more fast agenda.
Yeah, but you also have to realize, like, he's got this card in his deck, like, for a reason. Like, he probably intended to do this kind of build regardless of what his opponent was going to do. Like, it's like this has been pre-calculated. Like, you don't put Trade Empire in your deck
I don't know. You might be able to fit it in. He's got Northern Refugees in there. Maybe it's like a thing that he just like can choose between. He's got both he's got the more standard card as well. But yeah, definitely, I can see what you're saying. Absolutely.
Maybe on like a map where there's like potentially big wood treasures. So on something like Great Plains or something where there's the option that there's going to be a 95 wood treasure, or something like Siberia where there's going to likely be quite a few wood treasures. Maybe you just sneak Northern Refugees in there just in case, like, by some miracle of the treasure spawn, you can get down like 2 or 3 villages for free.
Did you see that? Like, all of this small little army was like, well, the Tomahawk was at least attacking that covered wagon. I don't know what they're probably looking for, the covered wagon construction or something, but they're not going to find it here.
Yeah, it's moving its way on up to the
I don't think he
line.
necessarily knows about this. He certainly saw the covered wagon going forward, but whether he registered that or not, because the Tomahawk...
He sees it with the dog now. Like, the dog's there.
Okay, he sees it now, but...
Sure, I can see where you're coming from. Like, it may have given him a late adaptation. And look at where Sam's, like, age up is at still. Not even... Just barely over halfway done aging. And the pressure is already beginning to... formulate here for Aiz. We can see 5 crossbows coming out right now.
Yeah, 700 wood on the floor as well. There it is. Didn't even send anything to begin with. I mean, what else? What is there to send as ports?
Yeah.
But, yeah, I imagine a big military shipment on the way. Use this town center as a forward spawn point for either 8 crossbows or 6 musks. Forcing the Vills in now. That Wonder, he's not even aged yet, and he can't finish the Wonder just yet. These crossbows delaying his age up even more.
Yeah, and Sam didn't do a very good job of hurting. Got a bit distracted early, and we can see his hunt is not particularly high in nature. He is going to have that goat, which will help him. He'll have the food from the age up, which is certainly going to help him. But if he wants to get to the 3rd age and be able to train any units, he's going to have to corral this hunt. And now with the number of units out on the field for Aiz, it's going to be a little tricky. And in fact, just dropping down to War Academy, maybe realizing the pressure is going to be too much, and he's going to have to control his resources in a little bit more effective manner before being able to age up.
Yeah, I think, yeah. This looks really tough. Like, as you said, that hunt is quite far away. Aiz can easily control that, and look, he's even going to get this village down. I mean, he probably would like to go for that War Academy if he knew it was going up, but, like, he's going to be pop-capped. Where do you just get 200 wood for a village from? This is definitely going to go down. It's 0 resistance. Having said that, though, the 8 Chocanu shipment does arrive. Are we going to see the Minutemen pop as well?
Doesn't have the coin to call Minutemen. It's just going to be very problematic. He's only going to have these 8 Chocanu.
And then once they're down, he does have that sort of small army of age treasure collected beasts that will
the ragtag group of, like,
it actually looks like
a dog, 2 Airfare Tomahawks, and a disciple.
It's actually quite a significant part of his army, though. Like having
it is.
Yeah,
I mean that those dogs and those tomahawks are nothing to sneeze at. They add a lot of damage to this fight.
They're actually a lot better than musks. Well, they're not. They have less attack, but they have 170 hit points. They're basically like musketeer. I don't know. The point is that they're good. But that village is gonna go down, and I think Aiz has achieved everything he wanted and possibly more.
Yeah. I mean, the 700 wood is here, so at least he's going to be able to rebuild those villages. But at the same time, there's been villagers in that town center for a very long time. He's accomplished quite a bit, and at the same time, I mean, we can see, looking back at Aiz's base, like, just completely free to gather all the resources he wants. The one thing Sam has had going for him this whole time is he did have the 2 trading posts down, so he is going to be able to have quite a few shipments. We can see the 7 step riders coming out now.
Yeah. Oh, and these crossbowmen out of position. Look at that. They're gonna get killed there. The pikemen too busy killing off this trading site. Does he have anything like 6 musks about to pop? No, he hasn't sent that. Does have 5 pikemen nearby though, having just popped out of the barracks. So not quite as brutal as I was making out. Actually, not too brutal at all.
Yeah, it's gonna be okay. Sam was able to push back the crossbows, was able to kill a couple of them, but did lose a few step riders as well at the same time. And still, I mean, Sam is nowhere near like stabilized at this point. I mean, he's down 6 villagers. He's still behind in military count, and Aiz is continuing to apply pressure to these trading posts to the south portion of the map. And when those die, I mean, the Chinese player's in a real big bind. And it looks like now with the 9 Quang pikemen, like, this is kind of do or die time. If he can't get out of his base right now with this last military shipment, he may fail just to get out of his base completely. He may never get out.
This is perhaps the defining fight. There will be when they actually engage. 4 Hussar. Or 5 Hussar, gonna be very.
I think that's actually going to be a good thing for Sam, just because I mean he did ship the 9 Quang pikemen. Had that been like another batch of like 10 crossbows or something like that, there maybe would not have been enough, you know, like anti-infantry units to be able to deal with that. But now that there's 5 Hussar out there, Quang pikemen do have some ridiculous damage against cav. Look at that! It's 7 times 5. Do those Quang
very
pikemen,
specific counter.
Yeah, so
they're very good against cav, but they're actually turd against everything else.
Yeah, they're quite useless in most regards, but when it comes to killing cav and killing buildings, they're quite good. So
yeah, he does have 5 musks about to pop though, and also 5 cav, 3 cav actually, 5 cav, 3 musks, plus his existing army and the Minutemen that you can actually call from this, and perhaps a shipment as well. I don't necessarily know if he has one ready, but I don't think this is not a bad thing for Aiz. Well, it could be better.
It could be better. Minutemen popping.
Where are the musks going? That's not too good. Come back, and the crossbows. They need to get involved. Certainly, all this damage they could be doing is not being dealt whilst obviously all these units are busy fighting off the sort of the pikemen and things. It's actually
looking really good for Sam.
Looking good for
really, really good for Sam.
That town center probably, if he can't hold this area, town center going to go down, followed by these 2 buildings in the same area, because there's no way he's going to be able to defend them. And then Sam looking really good. 10 cavalry though. The problem is there's so many pikemen. If he can get rid of those, going to put the villagers in the town center though. Are they going to get caught? I think they are.
In fact, he might want them to get caught. He might just be trying to fight with them to the best of his ability. But at the same time, there's a lot of Quang pikemen. And we just mentioned how much damage those pikemen do.
But they're all gone down now. Look at that. Well, not yet though, but they will be. I don't know. What's going on?
It's really close. There's so much tension here. Whichever side like breaks this tension and comes out from this middle portion of the map with the advantage is likely going to win the game, because we can see neither player has an overly large number of resources left in their immediate vicinity of their base. Neither player has great economies. I mean, 26 vills versus 29, each having a trading post. And at this point, it's going to be really tough for
no pikemen left, just cavalry here, and we do actually have more cav in queue as well. A 6 musk shipment does arrive. Looks like Aiz has is going to swallow this whole. Looks like that's a very decisive victory here. Now the cav are here and getting the musketeers out there. Having said that, another batch does arrive, but there's not really enough pikemen to make anything of it. That town center go.
The town center doing a lot of damage as well against the pikemen, and being well controlled as well to deal damage to the pikemen specifically to make sure that those aren't allowed to actually do anything. And now Sam caught in a really awkward spot, may just end up losing to this timing push, because as it were, he just doesn't have any food remaining. Like, there's no food left for him to gather. We can see
no safe food, at least, unless he's able to continue collecting their it's just unsafe.
Yeah, he did ship 700 food already as well, so even though he had it in his deck, likely going to be forced just to buy food with this 700 coin shipment from a market. Let's see if he has a market even. No market down yet, so not even able to do that. Things are just getting really tough for him.
If those cav go in the right direction, then that, I think, pretty much ends the game. But here, actually, I think Aiz abusing the fact that... Did I just see 2 outposts get shipped? Oh,
yeah,
my
I
goodness.
think you did.
BTM, if you're watching, this is your moment. 2 outposts has arrived.
Oh, no. certainly. I wonder if that spyglass was used right on top of those villagers. Certainly, you know, it looks like he's running up here to scout at least this hunt. Going to find at least one of these villagers up here. Sam just doesn't have anywhere to gather resources from. There goes down the market, which is going to be fairly integral in actually allowing him to trade some of that coin in for the more precious food resource.
Wow, you don't see that so often. Well, I guess.
I mean, he's already eaten up his food. He does have this goat still here that he could eat, which is going to be 400 quick food. I hope he actually still remembers that he has that, because that's actually going to be fairly important for him to be able to use that. And now we can see just so many cav out on the field. And in China, like we mentioned before, just having a difficult time getting together the correct answer to that number of cav. And,
yep. I was saying, I didn't finish my sentence, I think, but Aiz looks like he's just abusing the fact that China find it so hard to make enough anti-cav to really do anything. Like, Keshiks and the couple of pikemen you can send aren't really adequate. Though, having said that, does have the British intervention musketeers, I believe. Well, not the intervention specifically.
They're just, like,
it's
trained,
a batch, right? Yeah. So, you know, has access to some anti-cav, pulling together what he can. But, you know, this combined with, here's some crossbowmen. I don't know. Here he comes, though. But that town centre fully repaired. And villagers nearby. You think 90 damage a shot, plus that outpost in the area. And in fact, another outpost. The 2 outpost shipment. What do you even think of that?
It's... Well, I mean...
At this point, he's got his opponent, like, on the back foot here, and it just locks down the map.
It locks down the map. I mean, I don't know. I don't... Repairing the town center locked down the map even more. I mean, that was the important thing. I don't know that outpost explicitly is going to be the make or break point. Certainly it's going to help, and certainly this outpost I like even more, just because it locks down the southern hunt down here that Sam really would like to have access to, but unfortunately is not going to have access to because of that outpost. This outpost, I don't know, is as beneficial. Certainly though, the one in the south portion of the map, but that could have been built just as easily as well. So,
Colonial militia has just arrived. I guess like waiting for his opponent to come out to him and then popping MC on him.
Yeah, well, I mean, he knows that his opponent doesn't have. He knows his opponent doesn't have anywhere to gather resources, right? Like Sam is very starved. Like this one hussar is causing absolute devastation up here, even getting the proper scouting information, knowing that his opponent is now forced up here to this northern side of the map. And it looks like A's going to push in and get ready to start reciprocating some damage here.
Yeah, it has begun. Though having said that, Sam has a lot more military population, but I guess they are mostly Chinese units, which are not particularly, well, more like stickmen than they are.
Oh, but killing a lot of the crossbowmen here for free.
Pathing around that tree is a bit awkward. Gaia's map spawning the trees very clumped together and not being able to walk through them by the looks of it. That's a lot of units, though. You can't argue with that. Is it enough? There's certainly a lot of musks mixed in there, and so many pikemen. Actually, these cav aren't going to be too useful here, though he does have, as we know, that secret. It's been called. He's got it in queue. I just saw 400 of each resource go down. They're about to arrive. He's going to engage. There it is. And it looks like gonna get around the back with these cav by the looks of it and just stop him from getting out. And Colonial Militia are so strong. Minutemen are just absolutely insane for their cost. And I think this fight is ultimately actually quite even, but because of the Minutemen, gonna be in favor of red.
And unfortunately, there's no follow-up for Sam here either, right? He just doesn't have the resources to remass. He doesn't have the eco to remass. Whereas you look at Aiz still has 52 villagers doing work for him. So although he may not have won this as resoundingly as he maybe would have liked, and sure he had to call Colonial Militia as well, at the same time, his economy is so far ahead that he can afford to kind of lose this fight a little bit, just because his economy is so far ahead. He's going to be able to remass quite nicely, where his opponent is just completely out of resources and is very starved and is not going to be able to remass nearly as easily.
Yeah, absolutely. And even despite there is a villager deficit, as you said, But also, look at what he's collecting. Just a lot of wood, which is a slow resource. And doesn't really have access to the hunt that he wants. So has less villagers and is, collecting suboptimal, or is using them suboptimal. That word.
Suboptimally.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I wrote an exam on speech errors, not last week.
Yeah, Crossbowman just continuing to trade here, and Sam, last-ditch effort, calling all of his Minutemen, everything moving forward, melee units coming forward, and the time is now. Like either he gets out of his base and alleviates this pressure that is going on, or he is doomed to die a slow and painful death. And it looks like he's doomed to die a slow and painful death. He just can't. He's hungry. There's nowhere for him to eat.
This is where the score gap starts to really get big. All this time it's been, reasonably sort of similar, and you might, if you just judged off that exclusively, you might think, oh, this game's, fairly even. But this is where that gap is just going to get absolutely huge. Especially after any fight that happens. That's where you're really, really going to see it.
Sam just hasn't trained a villager in the past 2 minutes because he doesn't have the food to train a villager. Like, training a villager at this point means I'm not making any army, and if I'm not making any army, I'm dying.
Yeah, you'll never push out, you'll never get any more hunt, and you'll never recover. So, yeah, military is just, you need that to get the map back before you can do the economy. But equally, if you're not making villagers, you just lose. So it's, is it catch-22? I don't know. It
is a catch-22. It's your classic catch-22.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, he's done a good job, to his credit, of not dying. I feel like most people would have died a long time ago against this kind of just constant pressure, but he's not dead. Every time I look at
it's
his
those
food,
berries. If they weren't there, he'd be out. He's gathered 1,000 food off those. That's what's kept him in it.
Yeah, I guess.
At least
point,
for a little bit, I suppose.
Sure. But look at where Aiz is
able to gather. Here comes the raid.
Yeah. And he's just spread too thin, right? He can't defend his town center and deal with the raid in some way, and push out and try and reclaim the map. It's too much to expect. There's too many things he needs to do, and you can sense just this. It's such a slow, painful death here, being starved out of your base.
I'm gonna hand it to Sam. That defense was impressive for the amount of time he's kept it up.
But here comes everything together now, and we can see just the dwindling numbers of units. He just doesn't have anything left.
And that score gap, as I was talking about, look at that now. If Sam doesn't resign before this fight, it'll get even worse. It's there's that.
Here it comes, likely to be the last fight. We can see the Quang Pikemen off here in a parade, trying to deal with the cavalry, trying to alleviate some pressure in the north side of the map, and just not going to be able to do enough. As a result, the crossbowmen having their way with the base, and GG has been called. Samwise12 has resigned, bringing the match score up to 3 games apiece.
3-3. Saturday Smackdown. This is a pretty interesting one. I feel like this is the kind of Smackdown that people are going to be like, yep, that was really good.
Yep.
It's always those weird ones where Aiz does stupid stuff that actually, I don't know. We've had a couple of those.
I think Sam just wasn't prepared to deal with this. I think he was completely expecting his opponent to play Age 3. Yep. And when his opponent didn't play Age 3 and he was forced to play a reactive Age 2 himself, he was just completely out of his comfort zone. And once that happened, you and I both know how much Aiz likes to play in weird situations, and got himself into one of those weird situations where it's 10 minutes and each person's got 20 villagers and a handful of crossbowmen, ready, set, go. That's the situation that Aiz thrives in.
Yep. And I think we've, for the last 5 or 6 minutes of this game, we've had a fairly lengthy discussion as to why it ended up this way. But next game coming up, it is 3-3, and this series is shaping out to be a good one.
It's shaping up to be a good one.
It is. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Saturday Smackdown. Here we have the 3-3 game going on to Yukon for our 7th match. in this best of 7. This is the decider. Holy balls, it is. Wow. This is a 3-3. This is, yeah.
There can only be one winner, and he will be crowned after this game.
Well, wow, I'm just like shocked every time I load this map up. It looks so good on these grounds. I'm even going to put bloom effect on. Would you like to do the introduction?
No, not really.
No? Okay. Well, we have in the south of the map in the color blue, playing as indeed the Russians. Aizamk. Starting with, was that 200 wood? Yeah, it is 200 wood. Would he go for a trading post? I guess he could. We'll see what he does with that. It is Aizamk after all. Picking himself up 40 coin, more likely to see a market now. But then, it is Yukon, so actually perhaps neither of those things, because it's a bloody map, as you always seem to point out to me. In not the British offensive, expletive sense of the word. Literally, it is very bloody in the sense of the literal sense, perhaps. 90 coin as well. We'll see what Aizamk does. But in the north here, we do have also Samwise playing as the Russians. Both explorers headed to this sort of left-hand side of the map, looking for those big, beefy treasures that do seem to spawn down here. Ooh, 100 wood over there. Cherokee rifleman. Coming across 90 food. Going to be pretty happy about that. Immediately going for it. But the Russian mirror, and I'm sure we've prefaced this before, but ZutaZuta, take it away.
Yeah, so I mentioned this briefly right before you started your recording for this game, but Sam did a really clever build. I think last time we saw him play a Russian mirror, and it was something to the to the effect of not training or not sending any card in Age 1, and instead using it to get a really fast 5 Cossack, 4 Cossack shipment back to back, and using that to leverage like some insane pressure in the early, like super early portions of the game, and he just like flat out won as a result. And I'm curious to see if he does the same thing, because it was super effective and like just outright won him the game the last time we saw him play this matchup. And I'm curious as to whether or not like that's just his standard go-to build in this matchup, or if that was just like a one-off thing, like, oh, I'll just try this.
So he skipped out on the wood trickle for an extra colonial card, was that it?
Yeah, he didn't send any Age 1
Oh, here we go, 60 wood. It's not worth that much. Samwise crack shot, and it does get the treasure there, but is low on HP. Looks like Aizamk going to capitalize on that and slash him in the back. I don't know, your back's going to be pretty sore after walking all the way home being slashed in the back.
Yeah, it most definitely is going to be. And Sam is going to send his wood trickle card, so he did send wood trickle this time around, and we'll see whether or not that influences himself. Ooh, Aiz sending the dog card, and now with Polar Explorer out.
Oh, do you think he can kill this? Yeah, if he's going to engage there, like, and the dog's really close by.
Yeah, most definitely. Like, he'll easily.
So far away from home. Yeah, no doubt about it. Even if he didn't send that card, he'd be killing that. But there are so many big treasures on this map. I'm actually a fan of that card. Like, I've seen it sent multiple times. This particular spawn of Yukon, though, doesn't look quite so useful for that particular treasure.
Yeah, I mean, taking a look at the remaining treasures, I mean, there's 150 coin.
Yeah, there's still a couple.
There's 100 wood. There's this one up here, but I doubt he gets around to actually scouting that. And
I think it's okay. There's a settler treasure as well. I think in the long run, like, he does probably pay off. So they're actually pretty good treasures, but there seems to be rather barren of treasures overall.
Yeah, I mean, there's also this treasure up here, which is really good. The thing is, if he's using the dog and using his explorer to take all these really good treasures, like, he might just run into a situation where Sam just overruns him. Like, the explorer and the explorer's HP early in the game, and that dog might be really beneficial in just, fighting some of these early fights. And we can see, like, Sam has committed to this pressure. Like, there is going to be pressure.
There it is. Yeah, and look, he's actually a lot further ahead aged than Aiz, and Aiz has elected to put down a market.
Well,
yeah, so actually, spending 100 wood there, plus more on the upgrades. And his blockhouse is certainly, it looks like it's going to be up in time for when he ages, but, Samwise, certainly going to be queuing a batch of units in 3, 2, 1. There it is, most likely in queue. Let's take a look. Actually, no, but he needs to get housed at something. Oh, okay.
Oh.
Alright, well, customary 10-minute Samwise break mid-game.
He's been doing so well. I'm so proud of him.
I was surprised. I thought he, got all the breaks done before he started. Which, by the way, took a while to start, if you were here in the stream. Oh, well, that wasn't quite so bad.
That was quick.
Yeah, now we can go back to looking at whether or not he'll queue a batch of units. Does he even have the pop slots? No, he needs to build a house before he does that. Did he queue his,
He must have queued his shipment.
I always make this mistake. You're, so eager to queue that shipment. You're like, yeah, I'm going to queue it. But then, actually, you're supposed to queue your units first and then over-pop on the shipment. Because if you do it the other way around, you can't actually queue the units.
This dog is so annoying, by the way. He's actually going to kill the Vil.
Oh, wow. That's got no negative multipliers. That's literally, that's basically half a hussar.
Yeah, he just straight up lost the,
That's really good. That now basically translates to his Polar Explorer card, giving him all these buffs on his Explorer, and basically being a villager shipment, effectively.
Yeah, it's really, really good. But at the same time, Sam does have units out on the field. Likely going to see, there's the 5 Cossacks, and this tempo that he's going to gain from, the lack of market.
If he'd engaged right here, right now, and that could still happen, then Aizamk's very far behind.
Yeah, most certainly. Likely Aiz has 5 Cossacks of his own coming right now, but at the same time, Sam's Explorer's back alive, and ooh, the musket's getting caught going the wrong way.
Yeah, there's the 5 Cossack though, but if this had happened perhaps 10 seconds sooner, all the musks would be dead before the Cossack shipment popped out, and obviously the more units you have in a fight, you have this exponential advantage. If you killed them before they'd pop, certainly wouldn't... Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, but at the same time, Sam is just ever so slightly ahead in his age-up time and his military production, just because he was so, that little bit extra ahead to start with. And so, his corresponding 4 Cossack shipment is going to get here earlier. His next batch of muskets is always going to be, here 10 seconds sooner. And we'll see whether or not that's going to be enough to, explicitly win the game.
Though, but look at that. Sending 4 Cossacks... Oh, I thought that was a 13 Strelets shipment. I thought that Sam had elected to send 13 Strelets and the 4 Cossacks was the perfect counter. But actually, that's just a batch of Strelets, but equally as effective.
Yeah, going to be able to mow down the muskets. And here comes Sam's 4 Cossacks as well, going to be able to clean up the rest of the Cossacks. And now there are no Cossacks remaining for either player. Yeah. And this is going to continue to be just an absolute
There's 2 Vils as well.
Yeah.
Very, very scrappy. A bit like my free-for-all map. Come and tune into that, by the way, guys. And when I said it was going to be bloody, and basically I was just reiterating what you say a lot of the time. Because this is basically the definition of this map, what we're seeing here.
Yeah, this is, and I love that about this map. It's so interesting.
Look at the Vils as well, pulling everything just to kill off these cavalry, just so that these Strelets stay alive for longer. This is Aizamk very far ahead in terms of villages though, but in terms of military, Sam is actually.
Yeah, I don't know, he still has the 1 Cossack left alive, which is important. His opponent has sent 13 Strelly. The important thing for Aiz now here is he has caught up a little bit in XP just because of the fighting and stuff, so he was able to stabilize there with the shipment, and we'll see. We'll see whether or not it's going to be enough. We can see the scores. Although they are essentially 0 for both players, and they're 50 for both players, still very, very close. Here comes another batch of Strelly for Sam.
More Strelets, absolutely. But yeah, Sam now 9 units up compared to Aizamk. But I'm sure we're about to see a batch of units come out of that blockhouse. But whilst this fight is happening, it's definitely in favour of green. But so far, Aizamk is several villages up and has the hunting dogs upgrade behind this. So providing he doesn't die and this just continues to happen, this scrap in the middle of the map, Aizamk's completely fine with this. Well, he might not know that he's ahead on villages, but he might suspect it. But from this bird's eye perspective, we know this is good for him.
As dumb as it sounds, his 17 Vils are looking really freaking good right now. He is at a 50% economy lead over Samwise right now, just because Sam doesn't have. Sam lost the 1 villager, and he hasn't been able to get a batch of Vils in queue just because of the map.
Does he not have got any in queue right now? Because since they train in batches of 3, if Samwise pops 3 now, that deficit just
gets obliterated.
Yeah, it's just it's so volatile because they train in batches.
Yeah, he does have 3 in queue. He has also got a stable being built right now as well, which is probably going to be another
Yeah,
breakpoint.
there you
We
go.
can see
16 vills.
Yeah, we can see both players right now only have Strali out on the map. So if he can somehow even piece together 2 or 3 additional Cossacks and his opponent, you know, just think, I mean, Aiz is probably under the assumption right now, like, my opponent probably doesn't have any more Cossacks just because, you know, he's exhausted his Cossack shipments.
Yep.
If Sam can somehow get out some Cossacks, going to be really, really strong for him if he can like catch the Strali by surprise. But Aiz still killing off a villager, which is fairly important, and making a stable for himself as well. So both players operating under the same assumption that should they just get out 1 or 2 Cossacks more, despite the fact that their economies are, you know, both fairly in the gutter, a couple Cossacks can be absolutely game winning here at this point in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And a second blockhouse going down as well. But I'm interested in their shipment choices. If I was adding in a stable, I quite like to send 700 coin because it's very efficient whilst you have every villager on food, especially with the hunting dogs upgrade. What do you think of the 700 wood and 700 food? Is that, I guess 700 wood for housing and stuff kind of makes sense.
And I like 700. I mean, just crates in general are going to be strong here, right? You just need resources. When your economy is only 18 villagers strong, any number of resources that you can get is going to help you, and you're going to be able to translate that into some sort of advantage. And the 700 food does more directly translate into like being able to build villagers and get out batches of Strali and stuff like that at the same time. So both I think are good. I don't think you could argue against any of those resources. I mean, 700 food, 700 wood, 700 coin. You're going to need all equally. You're going to be able to use them all efficiently. 700 wood a little bit stronger just because it is the slower gathering resource at this point. And I mean, 700, all of them adequate. And likely we're just going to see, you know, crates continue to supplement these pushes moving forwards here.
Yep, until the crate, like, it's... You're going to have to, right? Like, if it's similar to my free-for-all map, you have to push out for resources. You have to control the resources, otherwise it's game over. And if you don't send anything other than resources, your opponent is going to get ahead, take that map, and not let you have it. And here comes a raid. Can he kill that villager? Starting to hurt it back. He needs that hunt closer. No, he doesn't get the villager. But nice control from both players there.
Yeah, a little bit of a break point here though for Aizamk. We can see that he has sent Boyers, whereas Samwise has sent 700 coins. So,
ooh, okay. Now this is interesting.
The composition here for the Russian player with the Cossacks and the Strali and backed with Boyers is going to be very, very strong. We can take a comparison of the Strali, 72 HP for Sam with 8 ranged attack versus 9 ranged attack and 85 HP. So those two 15% multipliers really going to be important here in this next fight.
Very important. But equally, 700 coin might be better. Just because it means, I assume, you're going to be making quite a lot of Cossacks out of it. Yeah, batch of 5 Cossacks. What we're looking at here is comparing an upgrade versus potentially 700 coin worth of military. Which is the better choice? And that is the question. I think if the fight happens ASAP, it favors Sam, because 700 coin worth of units is quite a lot. And the upgrade, I don't know really. You'd have to do some math really to work it out. But certainly, the longer this game goes on now, Aizamk throughout this game has had more villagers, though at the moment it's not very significant, his villager lead, but still a lead nonetheless. Does have some market upgrades more so than Sam behind this. You know, got steel traps, whereas Sam only has gang saw. I don't know, I feel like Sam needs to take this pretty soon if he wants to make that coin worthwhile.
Yeah, and Aiz has set up a nice little defense here with the wall kind of covering the open area here to the right side of his base, setting up the secondary blockhouse as well. It's not a super easy position for Sam to push in, and we can see that, you know, he's got the larger Cossack mess and really wants to fight here in the open, but he might have a difficult time fighting the fight.
Oh, their Strelets need to be fighting. They're away from the army. They're getting pummeled. That's not good. Doesn't want that to happen. Oh, this is so precarious here. Like, this is a very defining fight for the rest of the game. There are so many trees as well, just stopping both players' cavalry, particularly Blues, from doing anything. And this is a bloodbath.
I think Green's army is just in a much better position here. The Cossacks are actually doing something. We can see Aiz's Cossacks now are trying to get back into the mix, but there are still so many Green Cossacks left alive, and they're doing such a good job of just soaking so many shots from Australia. And with the reinforced batch just coming in here a little bit. But all that said, like, I don't know, there have been
Boyars, that's it really, isn't it? Boyars, it's such a good card. Plus that dog working its way, and the Explorer had a lot of extra hit points. Don't forget that as well. Those two things certainly adding up, and he's fighting under a blockhouse. That also helps. I think it must be Boyars. Like, that's such a good card, right?
It's there was also just
a lot of micro.
There's a few muskets in the mix there that did manage to get into melee mode and did manage to deal with the Cossacks as well, which certainly helped. I mean, Boyars, it can't be overstated how important that card is at this point in the game. But Sam does have it now as well. So, but I don't know. I think it's too late.
Oh, gonna get forced off his hunt. Look at that. But here comes five Cossacks, well, with nothing to defend other than some Cossacks of his own. Sort of pseudo anti-cav, he might be able to use them to block. But here, you're struggling to get through this. Anyway, forcing the green villagers off the hunt here. And if he can keep that up, continue to keep that for an extended period of time, he's gonna get quite far ahead. And this is, I think that last fight was certainly a defining one, and this one is just that sort of follow-up aftershock.
There's a couple more Cossacks that are working their way in here, and they might get on top of the Strale. Well, both Cossacks for both sides here. Not looking good for either. Not looking good for either massive.
No, but there are more Cossacks for blue, and therefore those Strelets will go down quicker. And I feel like blue is favoured here, perhaps, especially with a 10-villager lead.
Yeah, certainly with the villager lead as well. And just with the map control here now as well. Now that he's been able to push his opponent off resources, going to be able to secure the remaining hunts and the game. Samwise12 resigns.
Ladies and gentlemen, Aizamk takes the final game in this series. It was a very, very interesting series. Samwise pulled ahead up to 3-2. And then I think back-to-back victories.
For Aiz, sealed the deal.
Yeah.
Wow. Quite quite the game.
I think it was 3-1. I don't know what it was. A very interesting series.
Yeah, it was.
That was really fun. Every game, bar the first one for me, was really good. Only because I didn't have my UI installed and I was meh. But I enjoyed that Saturday Smackdown. It's always nice to see Aiz play, and
it's always fun when the games are like this close. Like the games are so close.
Yeah.
Like all of the games are so close.
Yeah.
Like, this game only lasted 15 minutes, but from 5 minutes on, there was just constant action.
Yeah, I love that about Age of Empires 3. It's so well paced, and it's such a fun game. And like, even in this mirror, look at the shipment choices. It's like really diverse. I can't click on the tab, but that was really fun. But do leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Absolutely, that was a really good series. I enjoyed that. But don't go anywhere, guys. You guys watching the stream, because I think Zuta has something else coming up. He's intended to go for a bit longer, and then myself, I'll be live on this channel after him as well. So yeah, we have some. It's been really Age of Empires 3 action packed this channel recently. We had literally 36 hours of AOE3 last week, I think.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. It's really cool to see. But yeah, so as you mentioned, I am going to do a quick replay analysis. I did have someone submit to me a replay that they wanted done, and so I am going to do that immediately following this. Is there anything else that you want to mention before I jump into that?
Oh yeah, well I might as well mention that if you want to watch this as a VOD, perhaps you're strolling through Twitch and you're like, I had no idea Age of Empires was a thing. It is. Come subscribe to me. And this video, the whole series will be available later on my channel, including every other series. Scroll down to the bottom of my YouTube channel. You will see a best of set, all of the Saturday Smackdowns, plus a commentary that I do on my own, which is, used to be the main feature of my channel, I guess. And also, something I would highly recommend watching is the ASC Grand Finals. Absolutely insane series of games. Very, very fun indeed. But yeah, that's all I've got to say. I'll just put that link in the Twitch chat. And obviously, Zuta are about to go ahead and do the replay analysis as well. So
Yeah, so that's the best of 7 part of Saturday Smackdown. And now I'm going to move into the replay analysis, and this is something I intend to do for hopefully all series. So
Right.
interjection. I'm gonna hang up the call.
Hold on though, before you
What's
go,
up?
whilst
Yeah.
I'm still recording, tell me where people can submit their replays to, so that people from my channel can also have an opportunity.
Yeah, it's this ESO community.net. Let me get a link.
All right, I'll bring that link up. But I'm going to use this quick, brief downtime to talk about my free-for-all map whilst I'm recording. Sorry, everyone watching the stream, but I'm just gonna load it up and have a very, very, very brief discussion of what this is. I'm not necessarily sure anyone's actually seen it.
There's the link.
So, before I launch into the talking about my map, here is Zuta's thread on the ESO community net. This is where we hosted administrated the tournament from, and indeed the next tournament, and just a general resource for Age of Empires 3. Do make an account if you haven't done so already. Go to this link here, which will be in the description if you want to submit anything for Zuta. And we'll do one record at the end of every Saturday Smackdown, I think is what's going to happen. But yeah, I'm gonna hand it over to Zuta now.
Alright, so
let's resume. Where is my maps? Down here, version 3.4, and you're gonna be surprised here, because if you've seen the map at all, you'll be like, what the hell is going on? Because this is the middle of the map, as you can see, and there's just these weird blobs everywhere. What are they about? There's no resources here at all, because if I show you. Well, basically, it's a tiny map. It's an absolutely tiny map with 6 players on it. But if I show you one of the previous iterations, I'll save it, of this map. Let's go back to, let's just go back to version 1, I guess. Where's version 1? I guess that's the best way to sort of illustrate what's going on here. We'll use 1.3. Let's go with that. But yeah, in the middle, you will see an absolute ton of resources, lots of elephants. There's like you can see like there's tons of coin mines just stacked on top of each other, and there's actually like 10 trees stacked on top of each other here. Like the original version of this map was just the center was this absolutely insanely resource rich area, and the sides were very, very scarce. Or you had plenty of berries, but they're not very good. If you wanted to push out, you had to go into the middle, and the idea was that all the fighting would occur in the middle. And we decided with this map, like, basically the town centers are too close to each other, and you've got a very, very limited area in which you can actually build anything, and people found that kind of frustrating. So I did make the map bigger in version 2, which I will illustrate here. Version 2.9, we'll go with that, why not? So basically here, it's a slightly bigger map. We've got a trade route and everything and stuff. Here you can't build. This is all frost, so basically it was to stop people from building towers and outposts quite so close. And you think there's not very many resources here, but that's because they respawn. Whenever you kill a deer, it will come back to life. And the idea was that you just fight over all this. By the way, these wall segments turn into treasures. That's what they're all about. But yeah, basically this, the problem with this was there was 3 sort of patches of hunt, okay, and there are 3 patches of trees. And I guess 3 patches of coin if you can gather here and here and here if you think about it. And that is basically what happened. There are 6 players. So what would happen is all 6 players would fight over the middle. Maybe one was like a noob or a conscript or like basically just quit as soon as the game started because they were like, what the hell is this? Maybe sometimes that didn't happen. But, basically 6 players would fight over 3 resource spots each. So 3 players would get eliminated very quickly. It was very intense, very interesting stuff. But actually, once they managed to get the 3 players that acquired the middle after all the players that couldn't make a convincing push for the middle, a bid for the middle, you basically just have 3 players camping, like in a regular free-for-all, because this entire map was spawned out from the idea of Honshu Regicide, which took an hour and 45 minutes to complete. It was the most boring thing I ever done. I thought it'd be so fun, because Honshu, like Honshu hype. But no, it wasn't. And I decided that was because the map was too big. No one wanted to attack each other. Everyone just went on their island. Anyway, the point is everyone just camps, and that's what you should do in a free-for-all. It's the optimal strategy. Because if you attack someone, you're wasting your strength, and you make yourself vulnerable compared to anyone else who doesn't attack, and who is booming. And also, you piss someone off, and they'll be like they'll come back and haunt you. So basically, if you attack someone, they will lose because they're not, they have to defend, and they're gonna not have as much power as everybody else. and you will also lose too. So the best thing to do is do nothing and avoid conflict for as long as possible. And yeah, there'd be a lot of conflict to begin with, but then they just camp here and they wouldn't really... I mean, yeah, there'd be a winner in the end like there is in every free-for-all, but it was just not very fun, and that's what happened. So the final version... No. The final version is so much better. We'll load it up here briefly. It's not quite finished because there are no treasures in the middle here, but basically what it does is every 7 minutes it will spawn resources. Alright, so you have... obviously, this trading site is fought over between green and red, which are here. Then this one between blue and yellow, and the other one between the final two players, of course. But each of these weird patches here, this is where resources spawn. At the 7 minute mark, there'll be, you know, all you have before then is this in your base, and this. And aside from that, like, at the 7 minute mark, resources will spawn. There'll be a patch for each player. There were 6 different spots, essentially. But then, 7 minutes later... then the resources spawn a bit closer to the middle, and there's only 5 spots to gather resources from rather than 6. So basically, like, it'll be 6 players gathering over 5 spots, and it's in a perfect pentagon, so that it's fair as well. And then 7 minutes later, there'll only be 3 spots. So as you can see, like, if you want to stay in the game, you have to keep fighting for resources, and it doesn't spawn that many resources. Like, it spawns very, very few, and they run out, like, basically just a tiny bit before the next batch of resources spawn. So if you want resources, you have to fight people. You have to kill them off and stop them from eating them so that you have them and have an advantage later on in the game. And, like, honestly, it was the scrappiest thing ever. It lasted 25 minutes, or 20, it was actually 28 minutes, I think, but it was, like, the funnest, most action-packed free-for-all I've ever seen. And when this is finished, I think it's going to be something special. So I just wanted to chuck this in at the end of Saturday Smackdown as, like, an ad. This is what I've been streaming a lot of the time, and something I've been really, really passionate about. Like, I've had so much fun streaming. I streamed for 14 hours when I initially had the idea for the map. It was just so much fun. Like, making this map was so fun. People watching me make it, and the chat, like, just all the ideas people had. Like, making scenarios on stream is really fun for me. And then playtesting it after, like, once the hype, like, once you finish making it, you playtest it, it's so much fun. I would encourage you to come along to those kind of streams. But that is the map, the idea behind it. And, yeah, maybe you'll see a couple games on this. Because I'm just saying, like, the game we played was really good. But, yeah, do leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Really, really great Saturday Smackdown. And I'm really enjoying Age of Empires 3 at the moment. So, there is certainly that. We'll, indeed, see you all again next week.